thrust set. 5500. Pre-event. Rotate.
Well, hello, what is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the channel. It's been a solid 3, 4, 5 days. Hope all my US followers had a wonderful Thanksgiving, had some turkey, ate way too much pumpkin pie, because I know I did. That's why we are on the hardcore fasting train again. We got to get back in shape before we go back to work next week. I figured what a good day to take advantage of the A320 from Fenix here. Get us back in the saddle for some operations. I haven't flown a real airplane in almost 3 weeks now. I got pretty much a full schedule for December starting next week. So this will be a good opportunity to get us back in the saddle. We're going to take the A320 Sharklet, which we haven't really, since the 19 and 21 came out, we've been hardcore flying both of those. So it's almost like the forgotten version here, the 320 Shark. We're going to take it up to Buffalo, New York. I do have the Builds Buffalo, New York working up there, so we'll have some scenery to look at on our approach. We got snow and ice in Lambert, St. Louis International Airport. Home of TWA, rest in peace. Thank you, American. So we're going to take this puppy up. Should be a fun flight. We got a lot to talk about. We have a FS Labs dramas. You know, they had the stream. I watched the black box stream on that. Looked pretty interesting. I'll have my thoughts on that. And something I always wanted to do is go over, that I haven't had time to do, is go over the by the numbers post from Fenix. So up in cruise today, we're going to go over the by the numbers blog from Fenix, because I still stand by, I haven't seen anything yet that tells me that there's another desktop simulation that's more thorough than the Fenix. And I have my reasons behind that. You may disagree with me, and that's okay. Differences are, it's good to disagree with one another, because if we all agreed on the same thing, imagine how boring life would be. So I just ask that you be respectful of your opinion, or you be respectful of mine, I'll be respectful of yours, and we'll go on through. And side note, I got a little fun thing, so I did a little test. Remember when we did the crosswind landing test? I have some very interesting information about that I want to share with you once we get up in cruise, or a little bit later on here. Remind me. You guys remember we did the X-Plane versus Phoenix, or Tolas versus Phoenix crosswind landing challenge, and you guys were saying, well, there's no winds at the ground, you guys are doing it wrong, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, well, I don't know, man, it feels like there's winds and it feels good. I have some interesting data I'll share with you, and if we have time, I will demonstrate it with you again. So this is an exciting day. I can't speak. I haven't had enough coffee yet. Still recovering from the turkey. So let's just have some fun. We'll do a little walk around. Let's do a little walk around the snow and ice here. My feet are cold. It's about 60 degrees in the V1 HQ right now. I don't want to turn the heat on because my 4080 is pretty much a little mini heater. So Bills Mafia, man, AFC East champs. Yeah, and I owe you $20 too. Gosh, at the end of the season, Bills Mafia is when all bets are due. So we'll hang tight. So I'm down 20, and we have our rescheduled bet for the first round of the playoffs. The Bills are going to lose, but yeah, congrats on the AFC champs. You guys suck. I will say, though, Josh Allen, he's playing lights out right now. As much as he's playing lights out. I won't share it on stream. Don't worry. Proceeds to show it on stream. AFO, no, we're not going to show anything abnormal or illegal on stream today. Thank you, Amir, for being understanding and realizing who he's dealing with here. And I wouldn't be surprised if one day they give me a version of the Phoenix that's just like completely nuked, and he's like, hey, go have fun with it, and it's just like a troll version. So anyway, you guys ready? Thank you all for tuning in. 250 plus viewers here. Welcome on. I can't get all the shout outs in, but let's do a little walk around here of our A320 series aircraft here. Is there a light on? No, it just looks like those are the LED individual light bulbs. Here's our tow switch right here, so it's actually in the incorrect position. Actually, no, it's in the proper position. It's up in the towing position there, but the park brake is set, so we've got a red light there on the nose. Come around here now, of course, we got snow and ice falling, so we may have to defrost our windows, but after engine start, everything will be automatic. Looking at our ports, make sure all is clear. Moving along the fuselage. What a beautiful model this airplane is. This is your home airport, Terry? Well, thank you, man, for having us, hosting us this afternoon here as we walk around our 320. Very nice. So wheel well, make sure we don't have any gear pins in there, right? Track the gear. Gear won't come up. You'll have problems. Looking at our tires, we got our brake fans. Tires look like they're in good working order. Now look at these puppies right here. Big old IAV 2500s. Best engines. You guys remember why this little door is a circle here? Who knows what goes inside this door? Who knows what goes inside that circular door? All right, we'll come around the front. Now, we are in a perpetual... we are in a state where we are receiving perpetual snow and ice blowing into our engines, the way the wind's blowing here. So we are going to be susceptible to engine icing. We're going to do some fan blade heating at the gate here just to be safe, but then we'll have to do our ice shedding procedure on the taxi out. Also, they have our APU is deferred today for this flight, so it's going to be kind of interesting. We're going to have to de-ice at the gate, connected to ground power, because I don't think I can get them to de-ice me with engines running. So that's a GSX issue. So we'll have to kind of modify that technique. But we are going to need to get sprayed. The airplane's been sitting here for a good 30, 40 minutes here prior to stream time. So, yep, fire retardant, the fire extinguisher, actually. So the fire extinguisher, the fire bottles for the engines are round. They almost look like basketballs. So that's why this door is around. So you could change the extinguisher bottle, check the extinguisher bottle. Obviously, those are all maintenance functions. Coming along the leading edge of the wing here, looks really good. We got our overpressure ports. There'll be a white X inside of there, which is rarely ever centered because it slides around. And we also have another strike here from the ground crew. Thank you guys for that. Appreciate that. So we got a, looks like he's hit our aileron there. But anyway, we'll continue around a little post flight here. It's getting cold out here, so let's hurry up. Check the back of the engine. Everything looks good. Check our brake wear indicators. They are getting thin. They are getting thin. You can see they're just hanging out. Actually, the park brake is on, so they should be proper. Yeah, but they're legal, but they're getting wore down pretty quick. Looks like we have a mismatched slide door there. That's pretty cool. Along the back side here, remember we stay clear of the drain mass. We don't want any lav wastewater to to drop on down on us, especially now being cool. Or, well, I guess, yeah, the wind is blowing, so probably this direction, probably blowing this way. So we'll make a wide berth here as we go around the tail. Make sure the THS is reset to 0. Does that after landing. Staying clear of the lav wastewater. Or I guess it's not really wastewater. It's the lav sink water. Drain mast. Everything looks good. This might just be a livery thing here. I'm not sure if that's what it looks like on the on this paint job. Everything else looks good. I did get GSX installed. We are going to attempt the GSX today. We're going to do some GSXing. So aircraft looks good. I'm getting cold. Let's go ahead and hop in the airplane and warm ourselves up. Let's bring this bird to life today. Got our static ports, our AOA vanes. Now, what's really cool, spoiler alert here, the wind on the ND is actually simulated to be run through the pitot-static system, the static ports, the pitot tubes. It calculates it through the ADIRs. Well, that information goes in the pitot-static system, and then that information is digested through the ADIRs, air data inertial reference system, right? It's basically two systems. We have air data and then the IRS, so AD, IRS, two separate systems, but they're in one unit. And then that information is displayed. Spoiler alert, in Microsoft 2020, 2024, with the Fenix, that information is crunched as it would be in the real aircraft. It doesn't just read simulator wind data like other simulators do. So you won't have whatever the sim wind is, you won't have that displayed on your ND. It's actually being sensed from the aircraft. Here's our RVSM critical area here around our static port. And make sure there are no dents, dings, anything like that. Actually looks like there's a piece of chipped paint right there inside the RVSM critical area. We'll have to check the technical log, make sure that that's being tracked or they're aware of that. If not, we'll call Maiden Sound and say, hey, well, there's a dent or something in the RVSM critical area. We come look at it. All right, cool. Walk around's complete. I'm getting cold. Let's get into the airplane. Enough of that. And let's get this puppy fired up. So I'm going to unpin this message. We're going from St. Louis to Buffalo, New York. Get 25.5 volts, battery 1, battery 2. Check of the sim sounds. Sim sounds should be up. Let me juice them up there, about 70. There we go, and we'll go ahead and get the external power on. Wonderful. Airplane's going to come to life. Let everything power up. How hot do the pitot tubes get from the heaters? Terry, yeah, they get very hot. You'll actually see them steaming. You'll see the steam coming off of them. If it's raining or something, it's really cold. Yeah, once we power up the airplane here, the aircraft is going to warm up. Now, it doesn't do a self-test on power up, so if this was a real-world situation here and this aircraft was sitting cold and dark, you might have snow and ice building up on our window and our probe heaters. So what we would do here is we would go ahead and just turn the probe window heat on at the gate to go ahead and get everything thawed out. Once one engine is started, it's an automatic process and it will automatically take over, and you no longer have to worry about it. So, all right, we'll let everything get booted up here. Let's go ahead and get the dome light on. As much as we can, we'll juice up the overhead integral lights. Did you say St. Louis, Mad Max? Yes, we are in St. Louis right now, my friend, St. Louis. So we'll give it here just a few more seconds. We'll clear out these faults. Side stick fault still. It's not a fault. That's beautiful side stick calibration. All right. No APU in maintenance space. Instant refusal. Matthew Presley. I hear that, man. All right, let's go ahead and boot this thing up. Cruise supply is on. Ground control is on. Let's do a CVR test. Beautiful. Captain Purse to Captain. Let's get our new ADIRS panel up and running. This is part of our new version of the A320 series. We'll wait for the on-bat light to extinguish. There it goes. Absolutely wonderful. We'll put strobe auto, nav position 1, seatbelts off, no smoking auto. Emergency exit lights arm. We'll simulate that there is some snow and ice on the windshield. So let's go ahead and turn it on here just for a couple minutes to get it thawed out, and then we will go ahead and turn it back off here. So we'll get it, we'll turn it on just to defrost the probe windows, and then we'll turn it back off. It's not necessarily to, and this works pretty quick. These the probe window heats get hot pretty quick. So we'll run that for a couple minutes, thaw the windshield out, and then we'll turn it back off. Let's go ahead and run our fire test. Unfathomable, thank you for the $5 super chat, my man. No JetBlue Jets livery. Oh man, you know what? If I would have saw one, I would have thrown it on there. I didn't see it, so I guess liveries, the Fenix dedicated liveries don't work in 2024. Is that right? I can only get community liveries working in 2024. When I install them through the app, they don't seem to work unless I'm missing something, which again is very possible. But thank you for the $5 super chat. And even if I did see the Jets livery, the Jets are absolute a dumpster fire, so I probably wouldn't be flying them today. Anyway, Magic Barrel Ref 3042 is set. We'll continue to look down here. We'll do our status recall. You can calibrate your own null zones. Mine are absolutely perfect. I even checked in the software. It's 000 at 000 with no noise, so not sure what that's all about. I think it'll go away after we start up and I do a flight control check, though. Maybe that's a way of doing its own calibration. I'm not sure. Again, I understand completely what Fenix is doing with that ECAM, and I think it's a good idea to get people who are unaware of what's happening with their side stick that there's something wrong. Me personally, I'd rather see like an EFB message or something like that, because when you fly around the status message, it's like, well, it's not really an ECAM. Anyway. Let's go ahead and do the rest of our panel. That all looks good. We'll get this out of the way. Engine mode selector's off. Parking brake is set here. We are in wintry mix conditions. So let's go ahead and do our init request. That looks good. Let's go ahead and get GSX. Where's key 6 when you need them? There is our flight plan today, 170 packs. We'll go ahead and select load aircraft. We'll do... Tell you what, let's go full realism on this flight. We're going full realism. I need to get back in the mode, so we're gonna go real time. Actually, no, we're gonna go GSX boarding and refueling. That's what we're gonna do. There we go. That's better. GSX boarding and refueling. We'll see if GSX can come do their thing here. While that's working, let's program the box. We're gonna be JBU 357 today. Alternate of Rochester. We'll go cost index of 82. Actually, let's make it 85. Cruise flight level, we're going all the way up to flight level 370. Temperature off the ECAM is -2. We'll throw that in there. Tropopause is low, 28,742. Outdated AIRAC? Is it outdated? Uh-oh. Don't heated probes mess up your temperature readings? No, they do not, Jeremy. They don't. It's I'm not sure where the calibration is. I think it's... Yeah, I'm not sure the science behind it, Jeremy, but it does not mess it up when you have the window heats on. It's accounted. They account that, or wherever it takes the temperature from. I'm not sure. All right. St. Louis. Didn't Buffalo get snowed in again? I think there was some snow in Buffalo last night. Well, at the game there was, but remember that's lake effect snow, and it's very specific at where it deploys, or where it actually snows. Departure 300 at 3, light snow, overcast 3300, -2, -6. So winds are 300 at 3. In Buffalo, they're also out of the north, 310 at 7. So I guess we'll look at our charts here. Let's go ahead and look at departures. I do feel bad from CMC. GSX isn't dead to me. I want to see how it works. You know, in 2024, this is our first attempt at GSX, so we're gonna let it run today. We will blast off of 30 left on the J Hart 7. So let's go ahead and go St. Louis departure procedure 30 left. J Hart 7. That looks good, and our flight plan says how epic would it be if a Christmas gift Phoenix gave us visual snow accumulation? That would be pretty cool. I'm not sure how they would calculate that though. Like, I don't know how you can get visible snow accumulation on their airplane, but that would be cool. What was I looking for? Oh yeah, we're looking for the transition. We're on the J Hart 7 out to Klein, which is not in there. Kelly, Rip. So I guess we'll just go like that. J Hart 7. Yeah. Okay, outdated. That's fine. Arrival. We'll do the ILS 32. No star approach via ILS 32. So I'm getting that stutter when we change views. That's an LOD thing, I think. Streaming services. Let's go back to Buffalo charts. It has 2-3. I like 3.2 better probably. Well, we got more approach lights on through 2.3. We'll do 3.2. So if I look at all charts, approach charts, see how everything is automatically start for you, though I do like that. ILS 3.2 full procedure would be all the way out here off of Elma. We're not going to do G because G's out here, so we'll take it off of Elma. Insert that. We can always change that if need be. That's good to know because I know from a real pilot that it does mess it up on the 737, and you have to get the temps from the box. Interesting, Jeremy. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure about the 737. That'd be good to ask Flight Navy about. But yeah, there's no, you don't have to worry about adjusting your temperature for heat or anything like that. Just Boeing being Boeing. St. Louis to Buffalo, New York. Nope, that's not what I wanted to do. See, I told you guys, the coffee hasn't kicked in yet. St. Louis to St. Louis here on our secondary. St. Louis, secondary perf will come right back around to 30 left, 3,300 meters. That's the longest one. No star, broach via, no via, secondary perf. We'll run it all the way up. Winds are pretty much nil. We'll zero them out. Temperature -2. And 3006, I believe. And we'll just put 200 here on the DH because I don't want to look it up. That looks good. All right. Secondary's done. Perf, a knit B. We'll leave it there. We'll look at the fuel page. Our fueling is completed. We've got 14 on board. It's all in the tanks. We'll get our fuel tank pumps on. Seatbelt sign come off. We'll get rid of the probe and window heat. We'll come back down here and we'll put 14-0 in the box. Wonderful. Now we'll take a look, see what's going on outside. Looks like they are still fueling. I'm not sure what's going on here, or has he just finished up the fueling process, perhaps? He's doing something. There goes the truck. Wrong barrel? That's fine. I'm not worried about it. Won't kill us. I got those stutters again. Switch from TA to DLS. Seem to fix it. Logo lights, really? DLSS is just too fuzzy for me. Too fuzzy for me. That's a point, though. Is my frame gen on? My frame gen might actually be off. I can't remember. Either way, it's fine for now. It's just when I switch views around. I might have to get the dynamic LOD mod up and running. But I'm getting that stutter when changing views. If you don't look around much, it's smooth, but you do a drastic of stutters. I think it's the aggressive LOD system. I think that's exactly what it is, Mr. Saturday. It's exactly what it is. See, that view wasn't too crazy. 3042, though, that will make a difference. So let's go back to secondary perf. 3042. And no, I didn't put it in the wrong barrel. 3042. That'll make a big difference. All right, we're all set up. We'll leave you on the init B page. Let's talk about what we need to do here for our ground air start. So we got St. Louis for our quick and dirty. We'll leave you on init B. Let's start configuring and thinking about what we need to do for ground air start. So our APU generator is deferred. Matter of fact, I'd be curious to try this out. So let me see if I can start it up. I have it, I believe I have it deferred. Let me see if she'll actually start. I don't believe it will. Or maybe it'll try to start. Maybe you can use pneumatics. You might be able to use pneumatics only. Let's spin it up here, see what happens. Gonna need to change that to belt loaders. When you do radio versus barrel, always use barrel unless you're doing a Cat 2 or Cat 3. I just do it in the secondary because I don't want to take the time to look up the approach chart and put the actual barrel mins in. So it's spooling up. We could use it pneumatics only. You can hear the attempted bus transfer. Yeah, you see that? Yeah, just coming up to speed. Nope. See how it tripped off? It won't give us generator power. So what's happening is the APU gen is faulted. You see that? So APU gen off. APU. Now we could still use pneumatics to help warm the cabin. So that's what we're actually going to do. I'm going to go APU bleed on, and let's see if we can't warm the cabin here a little bit. Because our generator's offline. Now, the MEL, depending on the MEL, says you can't even run the APU with this particular failure, but we'll find out here. Let's come back here. We'll go back to our NIT. We need to reload. Our GPS primary is lost. We've still got all our data. All right, GPS primary, we're back up and running. Cool. So, we're back up and running. Yeah, you can see here we're going to warm the cabin. Flight attendant be calling up saying, hey, it's too cold back here. If only we had an in-op sticker. I know it. It'd be cool to be able to place in-op stickers, but I don't know how that would work, because you'd have to either have them preloaded in the airplane, or you'd have to maybe a livery thing. But it'd be cool if you could just like click and stick in-op stickers all over the panel, or put it down on the main panel. So let's go ahead and go over our procedures now for a ground air start, or ground power start. Because we can use air to start, but we have to stay connected to the GPU. So we actually don't even need the air start unit for this, but we're going to need to do a crossbleed start. So I will leave this out and ready, and we'll get our de-icing checklist ready, because we are going to de-ice first at the gate before we start up. De-icing checklist is out. Rusty C, thanks for the 43 months of support, man. Appreciate you. Been having a horrendous time with the new sim after a new GPU. Got it fixed in the end by a reg edit stuff. Wow, Rusty C. That's pretty wild, man. Well, at least you got it fixed up and running. That's crazy, man. So, I mean, I've had I'm not even going to say it, but I do know there's a lot of people with issues in the new sim. I know people are having issues. Oscar says $120 for an FS Labs and Op Sticker Simulator. Hey now, be nice. Be nice. The devs could just code it so that when you load the airplane with something in Op, it puts a sticker on the item for you. True, you could do that, Jeremy. That would be a way to go about it. All right, are we loaded up yet? Let's go to our mass and balance. Are we done boarding? Oh no, they're still coming down the jetway. Alright. They are still coming down the jetway. We're warming the cabin up. We'll set our initial altitude while we're looking at it. Let's just go all the way up to 370. 370 is set. And I'll leave the dome light like that. Kind of sit here on the jump seat as we wait for the passengers to finish boarding. I'll race you up there from Atlanta. All right. Race is on, Owen. Race is on. Chandler, thank you for the 5 gifted memberships, man. I appreciate you. Thank you for the 5 gifted members to the channel. Very kind of you. Remind me to fix the alert box. If you pick up a membership from Chandler, make sure you shout them out. Say thank you. You guys are absolutely awesome. Thank you for all the love and support. We were weak on the likes. Are we? 485. How many likes do we have? I don't even have it up. Let me go over here. Are we looking weak on the likes? We are. Only 123. We need to juice that up. Fly to live. What's going on, man? Welcome to the channel. Or welcome to the flight, I should say. I wish I had my my counter on for the messages. Let me see if I can... Can I adjust the timings without crashing the sim here? Or will it crash the sim if I mess with the timings? What's today's route? We're going St. Louis to Buffalo. Alex5150 gifting the 10 memberships. Alex, thank you so much for 10 gifted memberships here to the channel. I really appreciate you. Very, very kind, Alex. I'm going to update our route here today. Commands. St. Louis to K-Buff. Alright, Now the root command should work. I know you guys love that root command for some reason. But yeah, we're looking at 250 likes for a PAX off takeoff. We'll do that. But thank you, Alex, again for the 10 gifted. Appreciate you. Do I use TAA? Yes, I believe I use TAA. Captain, can we get some lights in the cabin? Your FO dropped his vape and he can't find it in the darkness. Lights in the cabin. Actually, I want to shut the cabin lights off. Are they off by default? Oh no, they're still on. So you can see here we have a real nice cabin as people come on down and find their seats. Oh no, are they going to be sitting in here? Killing frames? Okay, no, they're disappearing. That's good. We'll pretend we're up here in I guess there's no mint on this aircraft, but yeah, it's an expensive backpack right there. We'll go ahead and we'll sit here and wait for our passengers to finish loading. That's Aaron. Flew into Buffalo the other week, got the flew into Buffalo the other week, and the Signature had plasma TVs over the urinals. Now that's nice, Neil. Man, that's Signature is always. I always think Signature is was one of the nicer ones. I didn't mean to open that, but I just opened the cockpit door on accident. Joe Plains, Mr. Chicago, how you doing, sir? Welcome on board. Just in time for boarding. Have you checked out the default DFW? It's actually playable. No, everyone keeps saying to check it out. I'm going to check it out later. So here I got a question for y'all, and I'll have to put a poll in chat when we get to cruise. Tonight, we're doubling up on the streams today. Do we start career mode this evening, or do we mess around in the A400M? So think about it. I'll put a poll up here once we get up to cruise. But we're going to start that. Tomorrow, we're going to get back. We have some delivery. We have some South American booger sugar that needs to be delivered tomorrow. So we're going to pick up our Beach 18 flying tomorrow afternoon. Also tomorrow midday, we're going to be looking at another comparison/test video between the Tolus and the Fenix. I know you guys love that video. I appreciate all the likes and all the comments, and that video was quite the hit there. So I have some more tests that we're going to do, and we're also going to revisit the Crosswind Challenge because there were some folks that said it was inconclusive, and I will demonstrate that. I'll demonstrate some more information to make it more conclusive for you. So we're going to have another comparison tomorrow. It'll be a little bit shorter because we're actually going to compare some of the aircraft behaviors instead of landings. So we're going to look at an auto land. We're going to look at a different type of approach. We'll revisit crosswinds again, and we'll go from there. Romulus, thank you for the 61 months of support, man. I have a new 98 X3D rig and seems amazing so far. Wow, that's the 9800 X3D. I don't even know what I have. I think I have a 7800. What do my specs say? I'm so new to the AMD stuff, man. I still don't even know what I have, but that sounds awesome. Isn't there a new card coming out? Let's see. Yeah, I have the 7800 X3D. That's what I have. How are people buying new computers these days? Outright or installments? I'm not sure, AFO. I'm not sure. You know, the best way when it comes to computers, the best thing you need to do though is piece one out and do it yourself. Honestly, that you'll save so much money instead of buying a pre-built. And keep an eye out. I'll keep a lookout for deals. But today is Cyber Monday, right? Build over time. 5000 series from NVIDIA coming early 2025. Gabriel, I am excited about that. I need to figure out if I can get my hand on one before they all get sold out. But I am going to be looking for that 5 series purchase. That's what I built this rig for. That's why I only have a 4080 in there right now. I say only. I mean, the 4080 is a pretty good card. It's done pretty well for us lately. But yeah, I built this rig with the 5 series in mind. What do you think of the wind so far in 2024? Oliver, thank you for reminding me. Let me put, I don't think I can change it right now in assistance. Oliver, I don't dislike it, man. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't dislike the wind and turbulence physics so far in 2024. Now, I think it's, if you just put it, and realistic seems a little bit aggressive, but it depends on what airplane you're flying. And I think that's kind of the problem that we have here with Microsoft. It kind of wants to blanket the turbulence across all airplanes. Now, one thing I will note is the auto thrust system in the Fenix, when you have realistic turbulence on, your ND winds, well, not even your ND winds, but your auto thrust system becomes hyperactive when the realistic setting is on. If you turn it to medium or low when you're flying the Fenix, your auto thrust will be much more stable and much more representative of the real thing. Now, keep in mind, the auto thrust system is not perfect in the real world, and what happens is in severe gusting conditions, it's actually recommended that you disengage the auto thrust, because the auto thrust can get behind the airplane and it becomes excessive pitched or becomes excessive thrust changes, right? So while I understand what happens there when we're on realistic, if you knock it down to medium or low, it does a really good job. Now, if it starts being erratic or the thrust changes start becoming excessive, even on low or medium, then it's probably time to actually turn that auto thrust off and fly like a real pilot, because that's what you would do in the real aircraft. The auto thrust is not instantaneous. It lags behind sometimes, and a good pilot, when you have a sense of aircraft energy and the state that you're in, the aircraft state, you can be more precise, you can be more accurate with your own thrust manipulation than the auto thrust can. So keep an eye on that. But I would suggest running medium or low. Austin, the mech powers don't do it. V1, your bottleneck is the 7800 X3D. Ask me how I know. I don't feel like I have a bottleneck right now, man. I mean, I think it's been crushing with frame gen. Like, I really don't feel like I'm bottlenecked. If I need to get another CPU, I will in the future, but until it becomes an actual problem, I need the VRAM is what I need. See, as a streamer content creator, I need the VRAM. That's the reason I want the 5 series. VRAM is everything for streamers. Alan Black, what's up, man? Welcome to Private Pilot. Glad to have you on board, sir. I run the 98 X3D with a 4080 GPU bottleneck now, so I upgraded to 5090 immediately. Nice. I transferred my RTX 3080 Ti, and it's working great with the new CPU, but it'll be interesting to see how the 5 series cards pan out. Might get tempted. Yeah, I'm going to go with the 5 series card right out of the gate, and then if I have any more issues, or I really haven't had any issues, knock on wood, like the sim is running pretty dang good, so. For most aircraft, the medium setting works better. I find the realistic too loud. Yeah, and Ziggy, I've pretty much run, oops, hit my mic. I've pretty much run all my stuff on medium. I've run all my stuff on medium. My 3080 Ti died running the sim on 1080. Ooh. 9 ads so far. Akor Galami. Hey, get YouTube Premium, man. It'll be the best thing you ever did. Romulus, man, what is that? Like a 10-year badge? Look at that. Romulus now, it's got the max badge. That's awesome, dude. Thank you for the support. All right, are we done loading yet? What's going on here? If I go to GSX and I go to settings. Oh, wait, there it is. It's up here now. How much do we have to go? I say 114 at 170. I'm trying to see 115 at 170. Timings, I'm gonna go dense, apply, okay. I had it at normal. This will at least help them out. All right, let's zoom back up here to the cockpit, adjust our things, 3042. All right, we're going to go over preparing for de-ice. Airbus Geek, thanks for the €5, man. Appreciate you for the best real fake pilot. Hey, man, thank you so much for that $5 donation. Too kind of you. Enjoy the stream, man. Thanks for stopping by. All right, de-icing, anti-icing procedures. A couple things we need to do. While at the gate, that's what we're going to do. Review station information for the de-icing frequency, the fluid available, specific procedures, yada, yada. Will frost be active? No. Precipitation fall? Yes. Will frozen contaminants blow on critical surfaces prior to takeoff? Yes. So we would need two-step de-icing in this case. Now, unfortunately, GSX, to my knowledge, does not support two-step de-icing. We only get one-step de-icing. Do not move flaps, check flight controls, or perform the taxi flow checklist except as directed by this procedure. Do not move flaps, slats, aileron spoilers, or elevators if they are not free of ice. So, again, we're going to get sprayed. This is a good review. This is what we do here. This is our crew briefing. We're reviewing this procedure right now, and then once we get ready to go, it'll be a much faster, streamlined process. But yeah, we don't want to do flight control checks or anything until we are less than 5 minutes from takeoff. So pretty much approaching the hold short line, we're going to blast through the flight control checks and pre-takeoff checklist. During ground ops, perform engine run-ups as required. Okay. And speaking of, let's go ahead and enable the engine fan heating right now. So we're going to keep engine fan heating on right now while we're sitting at the gate, just so we have some good engines out of the start. Perform engine run-ups as required. You guys are familiar with this. Required icing conditions, either the OAT is less than 3 or significant engine vibration occurs. For the CEO aircraft, set park brake on with the pedals or with brake pedals. Accelerate engines to a minimum of 50% N1 momentarily at intervals of not more than 15 minutes apart. Basically, anytime you think about it, run it up to 50, keep those engines free of ice. All right, at the de-icing location, that's where we are. We will configure park brake, external air will be disconnected, cabin pressure mode will be an auto, engine bleeds will be off, APU bleed, APU will not be running, or at least it will be running, but the generator will not be running. So we're going to be using APU air and ground power for engine start is what we're going to be using today. We'll configure with ditching, broadband switch if applicable. We'll notify, we'll make our PAs. During taxi to runway, determine the holdover time, perform takeoff check periodically, adjust the hot times. 3 minutes prior to takeoff, not 5, this is why I do this. 3 minutes prior to takeoff, rudder trim 0, flap takeoff setting, pitch trim set, flight controls check, mini brief perform, taxi lineup flow checklist accomplish. Perform a run-up before takeoff, pay particular attention to engine parameters. So there's our full brief. I've been briefed for going up to 370. No restrictions on the SID. Do you have any questions? No questions. All right. Let's do a cockpit prep checklist. Maintenance log and tail number. That's on board and check. Ear pins and covers removed. Seatbelts are on. ADIRS, nav, and fuel. 13.9. Actually, we need 10.3 for takeoff. 13.9 is on board. And transponder, we actually need to set our auto ATC squawk code today of 2117. All right, cockpit prep checklist is completed. I'll do a little mini PA. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard JetBlue Flight 357, service up to Buffalo, New York. Just finishing up some of the boarding process here. Once we get everybody on board and closed up, we're going to be on our way. Just a quick note before we get off the gate here, you're going to notice some trucks approaching the aircraft. They're going to be spraying the airplane down. We do have to get de-iced. There's active snow outside, as you can see it falling. So it'll take a couple extra minutes for our de-icing procedure. Once that completes, it'll just be a few minutes short taxi out to the runway. Time en route this afternoon, we're looking at an hour and 37 minutes. We do appreciate your business. Thanks for choosing JetBlue, and welcome aboard. Will you do the ice shedding? Yes, Salim, we're going to do the ice shedding. Your APU is broken, Flight Lift, so we have the APU generator off. We could do ground air if you want. So what I was running, I was setting this up for APU air, but ground power only. So this is this has happened before. Your APU generator is broken, but you can still use the APU for pneumatics. Now, there's some other stipulations with the MEL if you're doing ETOPS and things of that nature. But the way that we have it set up now, we can use APU air and ground power. But what we are going to do, we're going to do both. So I'm going to use APU air to start. We'll shut down the APU, and then we'll do a cross-bleed engine start on the taxi out. So I got to keep this. If I were to disconnect the ground power right now, it would disconnect everything up here. So then, right about now, the ground crew would come up and be like, "Here you go, Captain. Here's your load sheet. Here's your bags. Here's your comat, etc., etc." I'm gonna say, "Hey, so we want to brief our engine start." And he's like, "Yeah, what's going on?" Okay, so we are going to start engine. We're going to start in. Well, let's see. Where's it connected? Yeah, it's connected on that We'll do normal because we're going to do single engine taxi. So we're going to start engine 1 here at the gate. Just confirm you guys are aware of that. Yeah, we're going to start engine 1, and then I'll give you the signal. Once we get a good start, you can disconnect ground power. So let's copy that. Sounds good. You guys are getting sprayed, right? Yep, we got to get sprayed. We got to get a de-ice. So make sure you leave us hooked up until the de-icing is complete. Copy that, Cap. Sounds good. I'll be downstairs with the hand signals on the mic if you need anything. Cool. See ya. He's out of here. Everybody's been briefed. You've been briefed. I've been briefed. And let's go. See, this is good. This is good for me. I got to get back in the scheme of things here. We are going to start engine 1 at the gate. You can start engine 2. A lot of times when you're using ground air, you can start engine number 2. Now you can start engine number 2 first. It's fine, but it's dumb. But normally, the way they work, our SOPs work, not even SOP. I would just say, the majority of the time that I've had to use a ground air start, they put the huffer cart on the aircraft left. So you don't want to start engine 1 because that huffer cart is out there. There's going to be guys walking in front of it. They're going to run the hose in front of the number 1 engine, and then so you want to start 2. Now that's not always the case. It is possible to start number 1 with the huffer cart, and it does happen where they'll put the huffer cart on the right side. But in my personal experience, the majority of the time, that huffer cart parks out on aircraft left, and they run that hose in front of the number 1 engine. So we don't have to worry about that because we are using the aircraft pneumatic power to start. That PA was professional. You could do it for a living. Hey, I've heard that before. How would you start both engines with a crossbleed? You can't. You can't, Empathy. You cannot start both engines with the crossbleed. If you have no APU air, then you need to use a ground air or a huffer cart, which is just kind of what I went over with. There's actually a note. There's a new note I saw. I was updating my book. You know, I haven't been to work in 3 weeks, so I was updating all my manuals and I'm getting ready for the stream. And I saw there was a revision to the MEL for the generator. Let me read it for you. I just thought it was interesting. Normally these revisions happen when somebody encounters something. Note, when the GPU, ground power, and the APU generator are both inoperative, engines cannot be started. So that tells me somebody took an airplane with no APU and no ground power, and they shut down and they couldn't start up somewhere, because that was an added note to our procedure. But yeah, if you don't have GPU or APU, you cannot start. Or if you do not have ground air and you don't have APU air, you can't start. You need some sort of bleed source. Is ground air implemented? Yes, it is. Empathy. So if you want to use the Fenix version of ground air, you come into your McDo, maintenance, ground ceviches, ground air right here. If you turn ground air on, then you can simulate using a huffer cart or a ground air cart. So it is simulated. It's in the box. All right. We are almost ready to go. Let's run some takeoff data. 170 of 170. Wonderful. So weight and balance. We're going to dismiss you. We're going to send these numbers to the McDo. We're going to go perf takeoff. 30 left. The click spots are a little bit off. It's going to be wet. Flap optimum, Toga, yes. Anti-ice is going to be engine on. Packs on, packs off is going to be up to you for the like button smashing. We'll sync the final load sheet. We'll sync the live weather. We'll calculate these numbers, 33, 48, 49, flap 1, Toga. We'll send this to the McDo. That is wonderful. So now what I want to do, and I don't know the best way to go about this, is I want to disconnect the jet bridge manually. So watch this. I'm going to toggle jetway, and hopefully it will pull back here. Maybe not, but let's go ahead and request. So maybe GSX will do it when we request. We're going to additional services, request de-ice. All right, so de-icing vehicles are on their way. So let's go ahead and turn the beacon on so we get ready for start. Oh no, he pulled my generator.
Due to icing conditions, please stand by for engine start until push is completed and brakes are set.
No, come back. I need GPU. had $1 for every time that happened, I'd have a handful of dollars. It happens. No, I told you not to pull the ground power. Ah. Hey, they're simulating real life. That happened on my, hey guys, on my very first ever airline flight as a 121 airline pilot. I was an FO, first leg, OE, Washington, D.C., in the snow. That happened. That happened. That happened. No, we are not ready.
Departure checks completed. Bypass pin inserted.
We're going to do fluid type 4.
We begin treatment now and observe. Fluid
All right,
type
pack
4,
1's off.
concentration at
Engine bleeds
100%.
off. Cross
Call you
bleed
back
shut.
when ready.
Ditching push button on. Confirmed. All right. APU bleed off. I had to do that real quick because the GSX won't wait for you.
Locking gear.
GSX not going to wait for you, but we've configured parking brake, external air, cabin pressure, auto engine bleed 1 and 2. APU bleed is off. Ditching push band, broadwing switch does not apply. Thrust levers are at idle. All right, de-icing procedure checklist is complete. They're already here and they're spraying. That was quick. Douglas Phillips, my man, thank you so much for the $20 super chat, man. Really appreciate that. V1, good morning. Thanks for the stream. Glad I can make it. Yes, I may have to pull the trigger on 2024. Douglas Phillips, you let me know, man. Look, I'm not here trying to sell simulators to anybody. Trust me. I'm just flying what I'm enjoying. We need to go nose left, tail right. But I gotta wait for de-icing to finish, right? I'm gonna wait for de-icing to finish before I select that. Where's the Type 4 on the wing? FS Labs King. Get out of here. Do you think 24 is ready for the most average flight sim users, or should we wait a good 3 months until I buy? I'm pretty happy with 2020. Swim and climb, man. It really depends on what you're looking to get out of your sim. I mean, like I said, I'm not here to sell simulators either way. I'm just showing you what I'm having the most fun in right now. So, you tell me what you think. You won't go. You're not going to be upset either way, man. I'll tell you what. If you're enjoying 2020, you're not going to be upset.
Anti-icing code is fluid type 4. Concentration at 100%. I'm disconnecting. Good day.
All right, copy that. We'll go ahead and chrono's on. Let's clear this out. Let's go ahead and bring this back. No, it wiped our whole flight plan. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Stand by. Hey, this happens. Sometimes these things happen. Departure 30 left. J Hart 7. Insert. Buffalo arrival. ILS 32. No star approach via. No via insert. These things happen. Progress page. Case St. Louis. Boom, boom, perf, init B. Let's go to the init B page and we'll clear you out. We'll clear you out. Hold on, we need to start engines at the gate is what we need to do. So I'm going to resend that to the McDo, go back to our perf takeoff, resend that to the McDo. That looks good. Weights are in there, speeds are in there. We're ready for engine start. I need to start. I forgot. So GSX won't let me do a ground power start and then push me back. So ditching push button can come off. We're going to have to activate the generator because that's a GSX issue. That's a GSX issue. It won't let me do this complex situation.
Release parking brakes, please.
All right. There we go. Brakes released, clear to push.
Commencing push. Due to icing conditions, please stand by for engine start until push is completed and brakes are set.
Ben, it'll wipe the flight plan if it's off a certain amount of time. Or twice, maybe. And that was, I think that was our second reset, so I wonder if that's why. Because we did it once, and it didn't wipe it, and then we did it a second time, and it wiped it. So, I think on the second drop, it will wipe it. Alright, everything else looks good. We're back up and running. We're back up and running. You can start the engine first if you select the direction first. But even in icing conditions, I'm not sure if you can do that in icing conditions. I do a mix of GA and commercial flying, and like my old school aircraft like the 7.2, which isn't in port over 24, I think 7.5 will 24 for a while. Yeah, that's the other thing. There's a lot of good airplanes still coming to 2020. Alright, they're going to go ahead and lower the nose. Don't tell me we moved the aircraft while we were... Now our IRs are going to be all jacked up. Now our IRs are going to be all jacked up.
Tow truck disconnected. Bypass pin removed. Left is clear.
Nothing has failed. Maybe it'll... Hold on. Progress. Let's start up. We're going to check it back here after engine starts. Let's go ahead and start them up. Engine mode to ignition start. APU bleed is coming on. Engine 1 bleed. That's going to auto. We'll go to a normal condition here because GSX screwed us up. This is why I hate GSX. Let's go ahead and start engine 1. Yeah, GSX is dead to me for any abnormals. It's just it's something put together by a gamer. It doesn't do things like you would do in real life. I missed your Iceman script? Oh no. JetBlue 357 anti-ice began at 12:05 Type 4. Cryotech Polar Guard advanced at 100%. Post anti-ice check completed and all vehicles are clear of your aircraft. Joe Plains, professional. Absolutely professional, man. Alright, we got a good start on number 1. And let's go ahead and go right into engine 2 start. Canadian, what do you mean, man? I heard a ding up front. Suspect. Alright, so let's go ahead and close the cockpit door. We're going to deal with this here. Present position insert. IR2. Can I do a quick align? Let's do a quick align here. There we go, upgraded. GPS primary, nav accuracy is high. Engine start completed. That clears all that. Alright. Get you set. I'll reset our flight directors here. Flight Director 1, Flight Director 2, Climb Nav Blue, 1 FD2, IR in a line. We gotta wait for that to finish. No, it's done. Alright, we're all good. 22.8 is up. St. Louis traffic, jet 7 taxi, runway 30 left. Alright, now, we're finally back to where we were. So, we can't do a flight control check, we can't extend flaps, we can't do any of that. We do have our timer running. So let's go ahead before we do anything else. Let's see if we can't get our engines up here. 50%. Also, one other thing, after engine start, engine bleed, APU is coming off. Checking our engine parameters. All right, let's go ahead and get out of here. Taxi light is coming on. Taxi 30 left. Oh, that looks so good. All right, we'll do the hard turn out here. Remember, 2-engine taxi when you're in contaminated conditions. Run up at the gate. We weren't doing a run up. We had the park brake set. We're facing a safe direction. We just did a quick 50% on the Shaka there. Flight control calibrate. No, I can't. I think it wants me to do a flight control check, and then that goes away. But if you look here, my flight controls are perfect. So that's why, you know, my niche hardware with the Fenix, they have a niche ECAM that conflicts with my niche hardware. EU, a default airport. Yeah, well, until we get official airports, I don't even know if I have a St. Louis in 2020. I'm not going to be loading up all my airports from 2020 in hopes that they work, because I don't want to have issues with crashes. All right, we're taxiing out. We'll hold short of the runway. Well, that's when we'll do our after start, after taxi, or after de-ice. We'll configure all that. Well, we're going to skip the cross bleed. Is there a conflicting binding? Let me see. No, everything looks fine there. Clear you. I might have to emergency. I wonder if I can emergency cancel that. Let's do a run up here a little bit. Make sure everything's looking good. Marcus, I'll have to look at that, because that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for something that will show me what's fully compatible or not. What's really cool, though, is you can see that the ground, it's trying to accumulate on the ground. Look at that. The snow is trying to accumulate on the ground. That looks awesome. That looks awesome. What do you think is better, Flight Sim Labs or Fenix? Well, I haven't used the Flight Sim Labs in a very long time. I did use it back in FSX and on P3D. So far, we'll talk about this more in cruise, but I haven't seen anything that the FS Labs does that the Fenix doesn't do. The only thing that they've got going for it, and I need more information on it, is like a transferable tech log. I can see where that is a good idea for VAs and stuff. You know, Hot Start did this with the TBM back on X-Plane 11, which was really cool. I don't know if that's the same. Thanks, Speed did. I don't know if it's got the same idea behind it. I need more info on it. I'm intrigued by it, but other than that, I'm not sure what else it brings to the table. But we'll save. Don't worry. We're gonna dive into that convo once we get up in cruise. We got a nice long cruise. I do have some more opinions on that. So we'll wait till we get up to cruise. Did you see the video 320 landing view from cockpit on YouTube? Said it was from... Yes, dude. Canadian. So it must be you. You've like hijacked my YouTube. Because that literally popped up on my suggestion feed. And I'm like, what is this? Oh, that's cool. And I watched it. I never heard of that channel before. Never heard it, but it was on my YouTube feed. I skimmed through it. I was really looking for ND wind is what I was looking for. But it was a pretty sweet video. It almost looks like it was recorded with like your Ray-Ban things, right? Doing another run it up to 50 here. Hold the brakes for a second. Alright, we're going to hold short here at the critical area because ILS operations are in effect. So this is the ILS hold short line. So we're going to hold short of the critical area. Let's go ahead and set the brake. Turn the taxi light off for now. Alright, let's go ahead and get into this. It looks like we do have 250 likes, so thank you guys. We will do a packs off takeoff. So let's go ahead and get pack 1 off, pack 2 off. Let's extend flaps to position 1. Flaps 1 is coming out. Start the clock. Somebody remind me, it's 12:21 local. Flaps position 1. Let's do a flight control check. Flight controls full up, full down, neutral, full left, full right, down 0.5 on the trim. That is set. Rudders, full left, full right, neutral. Auto brakes max. Takeoff config is checked. That's on. Auto. TCAS, TAR8, that's odd. Let's go. St. Louis traffic. JetBlue 357 departing runway 30 left, St. Louis. All right. Let's go reset the clock here. We need 3 minutes. We've got to be off in 3 minutes. Lights are coming on. Now, when we set takeoff thrust in icing conditions, we have to do an additional run-up. So keep that in mind. I love the taxi in 2024. I really need to try this in 2020 because they said the changes were made to both SINs, so I'd be curious to see if it's as good. Wow, visibility is dropping. Let's go ahead and bring this back to our Navigraph charts. Trying to do 3 different things here. Trying to bring up my J-Heart while line up on the runway. Okay, so I'm going to EMER cancel that. All right, we are lined up. Clear the status. That's EMER canceled. Are you all ready? Here we go. Well, this is live, Andrew P. Welcome in. We are ready for takeoff. We got 60 seconds to go. Nose forward on the stick. We're going to spool them up 50. Let's check for engine vibes. Vibes and parameters. So these are coming up. Everything looks normal, 50%. Hold it there. We can go ahead and check the engine page manually. Vibes are normal. I'm content. Are you content? Yoga's in chat. Here we go. Yoga. Oh yes. That is takeoff thrust. Mantoga SRS runway auto thrust bleu. Working back to the center line here. Good runway textures for default, man. 80 knots thrust set. 100 knots check. It's blowing out there. V1. Rotate. Positive rate. Gear up. Fly with. Look at that snow. Look at the patchy snow out there. Oh, I love that. All right, in the right turn. Disarm you. I gotta remember to do that. I keep going positive rate, fly with. I keep forgetting to disarm the spoilers. All right, there's acceleration altitude. We'll lower the nose. Stand by for... Oh, so much juice. All right, let's go ahead and get pack 2 on. We got to get to a clean wing so we can get our wing anti-ice on if need be. There's S-speed, flap 0 after takeoff checklist. Speed checks, flap 0. Once we go flap 0, we'll go ahead and turn on our wing ice. Now, again, in real life, you wouldn't actually use wing anti-ice unless you were visibly seeing ice accumulation. And we'll go pack 1 on. You would see that on your ice detector right there. Or if you had ice detection, you could see ice not detected. So we do have the DAIDs installed on this aircraft. But we'll just keep it on for Microsoft Flight Simulator purposes. Approaching 250, you guys love your pitch and power settings, so 320. We should be climb thrust, 10 degrees of pitch, right about 250 knots. We're in the turn, there's nothing to see, so let's just hand fly it. You'll notice the ignition and engine anti-ice are on at the same time. That is correct with the IE V2500s. With the engine anti-ice on comes the ignition. Chop out there. Comes another bank angle check to the right. Oh, I need to turn the dome light off. Forgot I had you on. I don't know if that's going to make much of a difference, but... Looks like it's getting brighter. We're getting closer to a breakout, perhaps. Gosh, the sounds are spot on. You can see it's getting brighter. I can't wait for a 2024 breakout. This is where 2024 shines, when you have thick cumulus style clouds. They're not ashy. Once you get on top, it's nice and bright, which I absolutely love. Let's get ready for it. Oh, almost. Bank angle check to the right. Here she comes. We're skimming the tops. We're cloud surfing. Oh, it's a straight overcast layer today. Oh, that was awesome. I was thinking there's going to be some cumuliform. It's mostly just a flat overcast. Love it. Now we'll juice our brightness back up here. Let's go ahead and turn the wing anti-ice off. We'll leave the engines on just for another minute or so here, just because it is Microsoft. We're not necessarily in the clouds. Well, I know we're not in the clouds, so in real life we'd shut them off, but Sim sometimes wants you to go a little bit longer. Out of 10,000 feet, we'll pitch down. We'll accelerate to cost index climb out of 323. Clouds on ultra. Yep, you're looking at ultra. See how bright it is now? I feel like my eyes need to adjust. We do have a disco after J Heart. If that's the only problem we have after this cluster on the ground, I'll be A-okay with that. Alright, we'll go ahead and turn off the engine anti-ice. Forward call at 10,000 feet. You're now free to move about the cabin. We'll lower that nose about 5 degrees there in the flight director. We'll continue to accelerate. I need to turn off the cabin lights. I always forget to do that. They're so bright. So bright out there. Let me come over here and go to settings, sim settings, cabin, lights off. Thank you. Look at this sim right here. Now, yeah, it is sunshade time. It's sunshade time, you're right. Look at that. Those are the colors I was chasing with Rex Atmos. This is the great part about being a pilot too. Well, there's many great parts, but one of them, you know, if you're somebody who likes sunny days, it's all dark, gray, and gloomy on the ground. Whenever you get airborne, you get above it, it's always a sunny day. Not always. There are some times where the clouds go way up, but I personally like the dark gloomy days. We'll get the sunshades up on the FO side. We'll go out here one more turn, do a Magic Barrel ref update. 3042. We'll hit the turn at J-Heart, and then we'll go autopilot on. We'll turn the sim back down. I feel like it's still messing the high altitude clouds. Other than that's nice. I don't know, man. We've had some high altitude clouds already in 2024. It's just it's running real weather. I mean, that's all. I mean, there's no high clouds right now. And typically you wouldn't see that. You wouldn't see heavy overcast snow and then a lot of clouds on top of it. I mean, maybe, I guess you could. The weather's pretty dynamic, but this by no means looks unrealistic, not having any high-level stratiform clouds right now. Do you know what if the fly-by-wire will be ported to work in 24 swim and climb? I have no idea about the fly-by-wire, unfortunately. I actually don't even know if the 380 works completely yet. Something we should try. I get turning on one pack at a time, but is there a particular reason why you did 2 on first? Yeah, because in real life, I would do 2 first, because number 2 controls the cabin temperature, so I'll sacrifice a little of my discomfort for the passengers, right? But it really doesn't matter. I mean, you do pack 1, and then you do pack 2. Speaking of, we should probably get our temperatures. Bring these back down here. It really does not matter which order you go, pack 2 or pack 1. Especially when you think about it, especially if it's a really hot day, that's when you're using a packs off takeoff. So say it's 120 degrees outside on the ramp and everybody's sweating, the cabin's not cooling down. The first pack I'm going to turn on is pack 2 because I don't want the passengers to be sick. I don't want anybody feigning back there. So as soon as we can get air to them, the better. In the Neo, the Pratt & Whitney Neos, we can actually start number 2 first so we can have ventilation in the cabin as well, which it's a normal procedure, but it's kind of like a supplemental. Nobody really does it. There are very few guys that know what's in the book, but you can do a Neo engine start with air conditioning to the cabin, which we should test out, actually, now that I think about it. Why only 1 at a time? It's for passenger comfort for your ears. So if you pop both packs on right at the same time, that pressurization is going to kick in really rapidly, and you're going to feel it in your ears. So if you go 1 and then 2, give it about 10 seconds, 10, 15 seconds, it's a more gradual change. That's also why, if you have to do a packs off takeoff, we prefer using the APU bleed, because if you use the APU bleed, you don't have to worry about any of that. The APU is handling pressurization and pneumatics, so you don't have to worry about any of that. But when you don't have an APU and you have to use the actual pack push buttons, then it will make a difference. Have I ever flown to Vancouver? Yes, I have. Not in a very long time, but I have. Major Tom, I was. Yes, Pedro, I did. We're going to talk all about the Flight Sim Labs here in a little bit, because I've only seen that one stream on it. But yeah, I do want to talk about it. All right, there's 18,000. We'll straighten her out. We'll hit a Magic Barrel ref update. Standard set STDs for you, me, and Canadian. We'll go autopilot 1 up to 370. I'll bring you guys back into the flight deck here with a full screen cam. I'll continue to turn the sim down a little bit more. Is that better for y'all? A little less loud, less wind noise. Wind noise is really good. Let's enjoy a 2024 wing view here. This is a huge plus for me because in 2020, the yellow, once you see the yellow, it's hard to unsee the yellow. For ETOPS, is it required to have the APU on during the flight in the Airbus family? Marcus, that's going to vary greatly on the type of Airbus you're flying, your SOPs that you have at your operator. But there are, like, for instance, I know Southwest, I believe they have to run the APU when they're running the 7.3 across going to Hawaii. So that's a very specific operator / aircraft type question. You know, that could vary from a 320 to a 330 or a 350 or any of them, right? So it's got to be it's more specific. But I can tell you, the MEL that we were simulating, having an APU generator inoperative, that would not be ETOPS compliant, and that's in the MEL. It says aircraft cannot be used for ETOPS operation. Is there model matching in FS 2024? You know, JJ, I'm still trying to figure it out. Mine is not working. I keep having issues. It keeps popping up at me saying, failed to create this model, failed to create this model. So I need to dive into that a little bit more. On the 7.3, if you use the APU on takeoff, you sacrifice performance because the APU door creates drag. Jeremy, that's very interesting. I mean, it makes sense because that door does scoop down. United SOP in the 7.3, you needed APU for duration of ETOP so it's not cold if you lose an engine. Very cool. Hudson, you've been having a VRAM leak problem in 2024. Really? A VRAM leak. Are you using... Okay, well, let me ask you this. What airplane? I think the default, or not even the default, the AnyBuilds Airbuses. I don't know much about technical stuff here when it comes to like PC stuff. I would wager to say I suspect a memory leak or some sort of memory issue with the AnyBuilds Airbuses in the sim, because I only get issues when I'm in those airplanes, and it's only on the ground. In flight, everything's great. On the ground, I have massive memory issues. Canadian says, "Is my plane ETOPS? If my plane ETOPS is not authorized, well, it'd be a little hard to stretch that 1900 out over the water, wouldn't it?" FSLTL is working to model match on VATSIM. Take the FSLTL, copy it over to community, put custom rules, and pilot cloud. Bo, I will. Okay, so I had all the custom rules, but I don't think I did that second part. Copy over to community. I didn't do that. So I have my rules set up, but I need to do that. I need to copy over community. Do you know the 2024 features the Fenix already uses? Fighter, everything that they use in 2024, I believe, has been updated to work in 2020. Does it actually feel different in 2020 versus 2024 for the Fenix specifically? That I'm unsure, because I have been having so much fun in 2024 with the Fenix. I'm having a hard time going back to 2020. Turbulence setting is at medium. If I recall. We're sitting at medium. Because if you remember during the crosswind test, I moved it to low to change the wind readout on the auto thrust issue. But then after I put it back to medium. So I'm 90% sure we're running medium. And I don't want to pause the sim. I hate going to that zoom out pause mode. Am I going to use RealTurb? No, not going to use RealTurb. You can use the installer into your new community folder. David, I will try that. Tyson, what's up, man? Finally out of morning meetings. What I missed? Hey, we had quite the issues on the ground there. We had a GPU power drop out 3 times for us on the ground. Which, hey, improvise, adapt, overcome. We got to do what we got to do. We worked through it. The second time we lost power, we lost our flight plan, but we were professionals. We repowered it up, and it's a good lesson in patience, because nothing that happened on the ground other than GSX forcing me to like not start an engine and asking me to push when I'm not ready. Other than that, everything else was 100% realistic. Also, the IR misalignment, I hopefully wouldn't have done that in real life. It's a good thing to keep in mind, though. But I've had the GPS be unplugged. The GPU unplugged. It's even after talking to the ground crew, I'm like, hey, all right, we have to stay connected to the jet bridge. What happens after we close the door? They disconnect to pull the jet bridge back. I'm like, guys. So it does happen. Mistakes happen. So everything you saw was realistic, although the order and then miraculously our APU working again. I got to remember that I can't simulate that fault with GSX where we split it up, where we split with APU air but ground power. You can do it, but you can't do it with GSX. So, because GSX forces you to disconnect. So I will remember that for next time. I have problems clicking the Fenix, yes, slightly off. They are working to address that. But yeah, sometimes you have to double click or click slightly to the off. The click spots seem to have shifted a tad. But you're not the only one. Raven says you'll drink the RealTurb Kool-Aid again one day. No, I don't think so, man. I've been enjoying the turbulence. I've been enjoying, look at that wind. I really haven't experienced anything yet in 2024 that makes me question wanting to add additional stuff to the sim. The only reason I went down the RealTurb and Rex Atmos in 2020 was because I was trying to make it more comparable to 2024 previews. And then I had a blue screen, so I uninstalled Atmos. I still have RealTurb on there, but I don't like RealTurb for the fact that you have to adjust it for every airplane. That reason alone, dead to me. RealTurb is dead to me. Rojokin. Great name. All right, thought on FS Labs. Let's start talking about the FS Labs here. I'm gonna actually put a poll in chat, and this poll is from I was watching XP stream, and I was very interested by the results of his poll. So I'm gonna do a similar poll, and I want you guys to vote accordingly. Let's talk about the FS Labs here for a little bit, and then we're gonna talk about the numbers on the Phoenix later on. But let me get this poll up and running first. Type this. How do I spell announcement? All right. I have the Phoenix, and I will buy FS Labs. Add an option. So I have a couple questions I'm going to ask you guys to vote for me. So the questions are going to be, I have the Phoenix and I will buy the FS Labs. I have the Phoenix and I will not buy the FS Labs. And this is for CEO. I'll put CEO on there because I believe this is the only option right now is the CEO engine variant. Oh, I can't do that because it's out of characters. But just remember it's all for CEO. And I don't have the Phoenix, but will buy the FS Labs. I hate Airbus. Or I'm going to just say, I fly X-Plane. There we go. So I'd be curious. We got a good number of viewers in here. Let's see if we can vote this out. Start poll. Why can't I start the poll? There we go. I'd be curious what you guys think about that. Malware Labs. Okay, so while you guys marinate and vote on that poll, we're going to climb out here in wing view. Yeah, we'll climb out in wing view as we're up at a 26 for 370, looking at these beautiful clouds. So let me give you a little background on my experience with the FS Labs before you guys say, oh, he's just he's anti-FS Labs. He's a pro Phoenix. He's glazing the Phoenix. He's blah, blah, blah. So going back in time, I actually used the FS Labs Airbus to help me with my real-world upgrade training. Like when it came out, I was like, look, I want to go into my upgrade. I want to be super proficient, and I was using FSX was pretty much the sim of the time, and I was like, I had the Aerosoft Airbus. You know, that was the best we really had until FS Labs came around. So I picked up the FS Labs. I used it extensively for training, for understanding procedures. Matter of fact, the only reason I even learned about the FS Labs and when it was releasing is because I stumbled across a YouTube video from Blackbox. He had a dual engine failure simulation back in FSX. This was years ago. And I was like, okay, if that can do that, I need to learn more, and I need to figure out how I can do this on my sim so I can study. So I used it. I bought it. I used it. I bought it the day it came out, and I was very impressed with it. It did a lot of things right. It was right up there with the PMDG, NGXU, and NGX and FSX. You know, it was a game changer for Airbus. It did a lot of things well, did a lot of things correctly, and it was a very reliable piece of software. Now, we're not going to get into the drama side of FS Labs, but I will, for those that are unaware, there was a whole drama attached to the FS Labs 320 series where basically they installed a hidden malware, or they when you installed the airplane, it installed a hidden malware to your PC. They said it was for making sure people weren't copying the airplane or something like that, or illegally distributing it, something like that. You guys probably know more about it than I do. But that was a big issue, and it was test.exe. And if you guys ever wonder why, if you come in here, why this little gem is here, because it's just it's perfect. It's awesome. I love it. Because you can't even say right, wrong, or indifferent. It wasn't the right thing to do. It was the wrong thing to do. And Whether it affected you personally or not, that's one thing, but still to do that as a developer is not a good thing, right? So that was the drama behind FS Labs. But again, you go back in time when I was using it, I was like, oh, I don't care. My computer only had FSX and FS9, and I think it was X-Plane 10 even running. I might have had X-Plane 10 installed. That was literally all I had on my computer. It's like, I could care less, right? Fast forward to the X-Plane years, hot and heavy in X-Plane 11. I was flying the Flight Factor. It was okay. Tolas came out. It was better in my opinion. And FS Labs continued development, continued making a great product. I didn't use it heavily in P3D. I used it a little bit. We actually did a few streams with the FS Labs in P3D, and I said, look, 4 or 5 years ago, we did a stream. I said the most realistic Airbus simulation to date, and this was about 4 or 5 years ago. Oh man, is it even longer? I don't know. Someone could probably pull a stream. It was a de-icing stream with the FS Labs. I think we were going somewhere down to Florida or Tampa. And I showed you why, in my opinion, at that moment in time, the FS Labs was the highest simulation we had. And that was basically comparing against the Tolas A320 series, or A319 that was out. It was only the 319, if I'm not mistaken, and the Flight Factor 320. What really drove the FS Labs, in my opinion, to a higher level of realism was the automated ground services. You basically set everything up, and it would do things in real time. And this was a big deal for me when I was going through upgrade training, and anybody that wanted to learn to train on the Airbus for real-world flying, because you have to learn to get in a rhythm, right? And you really can't do that on a desktop simulator unless you have an airplane that has some sort of ground services situations to keep you in check. Because if you don't use that, you can literally sit at the gate for 5 hours and nothing matters, right? You're just simming. But when you have, okay, here comes the fuel, here comes the bags, here comes this, and you can get your procedures down, your SOPs down, you get in a rhythm. So you want to be everything done and set up before everything else is ready. You want to be waiting on everybody. You don't want people waiting on you. So for that reason, I really enjoyed FS Labs, and that was really the first airplane to do that. So fast forward to where we are now in 2024, we have the Fenix, of which I've said that this is the most realistic Airbus simulation that I've flown to date on a PC sim. And I still stand by that because I haven't seen what FS Labs can do in 2024 or 2020 even. There was a stream yesterday. I know Black Box did it. I watched a majority of it. I got cut off on some of it. I think it died at one point, and then I was watching some football. But I did check back, and I looked at some of the high parts, the landing and everything. And I still, unless we can get our hands on it eventually, I really don't know what it's offering, what FS Labs is offering over the Fenix. Now, put the asterisk near the transferable tech log, which I do think this is a good idea. Having some type of airframe where you can share it amongst friends, but let's be realistic, none of you have friends. We're all flight sim nerds. So you may share it in a VA, possibly. How does that sharing work? Do you have to drag and drop a file? Do you have to share files across, like a Google Dropbox, kind of like we did with the TBM? I know I did it through Discord. I had a lot of fun flying the TBM around the world with my friend Jungle Lee. We shared the airplane frame, which was really cool. You built ours. Everything was left in the same state that he left it in versus when I left it in. So I am intrigued by this idea that FS Labs is coming out with this tech log thing. Is it enough for me to just say, oh, boom, that's it. That's the holy grail. Let's dump the Fenix and fly FS Labs forever. No, not for me and not personally. And maybe as it progresses, maybe it'll be something really cool that, okay, yeah, let's do this. Let's throw it into the mix. But as of right now, I can't sit here and say, oh, that's the end-all be-all. Or people say, oh, it has failures. So does the Fenix. The Fenix has failures. It has random failures. It still has the mean time between failures simulation. How many of you actually do failures? Other than real-world pilots out there training to do things, I don't know how many of y'all are actually doing failures. So it's not that FS Labs does failures and Fenix doesn't. Fenix does all the failures. You guys saw the failure book that we have. You can end up so many things. How many times have we broken this airplane down on stream? With complex hydraulic issues, gear issues. running multiple checklists, emergency electrical configuration, which we're going to need to do again. It's all there. It's all in the Fenix. I mean, and it's done things correctly by the book, as my books show, as when I'm talking about ECAMs, right? So when we run that extensive landing gear hydraulic failure simulation, in my book, my real world iPad that I use when I'm streaming, I say, okay, it'll say, this is what's going to happen. So I do it in the sim, boom, that's what happens. Here comes the new ECAM. It shows you the ECAM. Okay, comply with this. It'll say, do this, this, and this, and you should have this on the status page. And I look, and it's all there on the status page in order the way it's supposed to be. So there is a in-depth simulation of systems on the Fenix. There's no question about that. So really, as of right now, I don't know what the big jump would be. Why would you give up the Fenix to jump to FS Labs? Now, could my opinion change after the airplane comes out and we see some key features? That's definitely a possibility. I'm not tied to anybody, right? I don't have anyone saying other than the NDAs I violated with Amir. I'm not tied down to say, okay, well, you can't say anything good about this, or you can't say anything bad about this. I literally just sit here and speak freely. So until we see more information, I'm intrigued but skeptical at best. That's how I would sum it up. Intrigued but skeptical at best. Tom H, thanks for the $5 super chat. So what I'm hearing is V1 is bought and paid for by Big 320. Oh, Tom, I appreciate you, man. Thanks for that $5 super chat. Yeah, basically, right? That's a good way to put it, my man. I appreciate the support. Thanks for that $5 super chat, dude. Migs coming in with a $13 super chat. Really appreciate you. He says, finally treated myself and got the Fenix 1921. Oh boy, here we go. Did some flights in the 19 and I've never blurted out thrust set V1 rotate so fast in my life. Summary, FS Labs, dead to me. Fenix pocket rocket for the win. Absolutely, Migs. Thank you for that $13 super chat. I absolutely agree with you. I love that. And here's the other thing. You guys probably know. It's $70 for the FS Labs 320 CEO, right? Does that come with the wingtip fence, sharklet, changeable cockpit configuration, changeable cabin configuration? What is the price difference between the whole Fenix package, 320 base, 1921, all the options, versus FS Labs 320 CEO? What is the price difference? We're going to Google that and we'll find it out. But Migs, I love that about the 319. We almost flew it today, but I said, hey, you know what? We haven't flown the 320 in so long. Let's just get back into it and see what she's up to. Plus, I do love looking at these little sharkies out here. So, but thanks again, Migs. It comes with GPS jamming. I know. Is this real? I feel like I boarded a plane. Long John, I know. Doesn't it look good? V1 cannot be bought, but he will take free stuff. Touche, Key 6. Touche, my man. FS Labs starting at 70. That's what I've heard. Do you also get the other variants, 1921, or what do you get? Did you just get the 321 for 70 with sharklets, non-sharklets, and engine variants? Now the Neo, Michael, when people are talking about the Neo, I can hear the engine spooling down as we level off here in cruise. Then we'll get to outside view. The Neo is interesting. Where I think FS Labs has kind of missed the beat here. And here's a tip for I mean, not even a tip, but everyone pretty much knows this. If you're not first, you're last. So Fenix coming into to the 2020 market, even though FS Labs coming into the 2020 market with the 321 CEO, all the while Fenix has already completely dominated that market for the last 4 years with the 19. Well, not even the last 4 years, but they're well established in 2020, and they're already working in 2024. What are you targeting there? Like it seems like it's not the best move. Maybe it's because they've done all the work for 2020 and they're finally getting it out. I think their efforts would have been better placed on bringing in either a 321 Neo study level into 2020, or even bringing that Neo into 2024. It just seems like it's kind of a weird time. It's a weird timing to go into 2020 with a 321 CEO. Jay Sprague, thanks for the $2, man. Fenix or Latin VFR, Windwing or T-Master stick? That's pretty much. I don't know if you're being facetious or not. Fenix definitely over the Latin VFR. Windwing definitely over the Thrustmaster stick. Stay away from the Thrustmaster stick. The Thrustmaster yoke is yes, good on Thrustmaster, good yoke, but stay away from that Airbus stick. It's not good. The Fenix bundle, the whole Fenix bundle, $90. So you have 90 pounds to get all of it, right? 19, 20, 21 IEs, CFMs, sharklets, non-sharklets. Configurable cabin, configurable cockpit with the RMI, DCDUs, etc. So that's something to keep in mind as well. But again, I don't know what the point is of targeting the 2020 market with a 321 CEO. It's already been flushed out. Now, as Blackbox was saying on his stream, he said, "Oh, it flies really good. It flies way better than everything, and the Fenix is too floaty." Well, I mean, I have to see. To me, it didn't look all that different from anything that the Fenix does when he was flying it, to be honest with you. So again, that's going to be in due time when we actually get to experience it. Maybe there's something there, maybe not. They will sell more in 3 months for a Microsoft Flight Sim than they have in the past 3 years for any other sim, so it'll be a win for them. That is a good point, Al Loper. Get them at a P3D. It's not FS Labs or Tolos that's expensive, it's Fenix that's cheap. Well, or extremely fairly priced is where I would put that. What are the main differences with the 320 and 320 Neo? Engines, and then there's some minor changes inside, like as far as the guts are concerned. A couple of different handling characteristics of the Neo, but really it's an engine change. That's really the main difference you're going to notice. There's less difference between a 320 CEO and a 320 Neo than you would say on a 7.3 NG versus a Max. I feel like the Max has a little bit more changing going on than a CEO to a Neo. I'm waiting for a PMDG 73 to come to 24. I want some yoke time. I know, 737 Sim Pilot. Now, we do have the 777 freighter that's approaching 2020, but look at this. Look at this. How beautiful is this? This is what's so hard for me to go back to 2020 and do some flying. The colors are perfect in 2024, or much, much better anyway. They're much, much better than 2020. Unless you can run Atlas. In that case, it's pretty darn close. The Max has more spice to it. Yeah. Definitely serious. Just decided to get an Airbus flying. Sim Phoenix was the plane of choice. Oh yeah, JSprog, stay away from Latin VFR stuff, man. That's really light simulation. Unless you're playing with on an Xbox maybe, and you just want to have some fun. But I wouldn't waste a penny on Latin VFR stuff. I would go straight to the Phoenix. It's going to get everything you need done. And again, go with the WinWing. Don't go with the TCA Airbus pack. Looking at the poll right now, 72% says I have Phoenix and will not buy FS Labs. 18% saying I have the Phoenix, will buy FS Labs. Interesting. Only 1% of you says you don't have the Phoenix but will buy FS Labs. That's very interesting too. Owen McFarland says, I love having the Moza side stick, truly changed simulation for me. Nice, man. Yeah, I love the Moza. I saw there was an update today. I haven't updated mine yet. I got to update mine again. I like how Moza is pushing the updates out for compatibility for 24. It's good stuff. Blackbox doesn't even fly the Airbus anymore in real life. What is he even? Well, I don't know if I wouldn't say he was bitching. I was just saying he seemed to be very enthusiastic about the FS Labs, but you also have to keep in mind he worked for FS Labs for a while, and I believe he has a close relationship with all those devs over there. So while I can understand trying not to be biased, that makes it that adds a level of complication. I've never worked for FS Labs, nor have I worked for Phoenix. I have been under NDA at Phoenix, as y'all know, and I have 2 strikes against me. But I don't have any in-depth secret communication with anybody, you know. I bought the Latin VFR 321 Neo with fly-by-wire compatibility, and it was pretty enjoyable for A to B. Yeah, you know, I've heard that too. Guys getting the Neo and then getting the fly-by-wire compatibility. And if that's what's enjoyable for you, then by all means, knock yourself out. But it's not for me. Got wind wing panels in too. They just got an update. Nice. State save like the Tola some Turk. So that is also an interesting. That would be interesting to have the state saving option. The way Tolis does their panel state saving is the best for repetitive training. There's no way around that. I haven't seen anybody come close to that. I didn't know FS Labs was going to attempt to bring that. If they do, I'd be curious to see how it runs. I play DCS quite a bit. Wing slaps in DCS? Yes, it does. State saving is a big one, especially doing long haul. I want to invest in buying the best Airbus stick. Which should I buy? Say Toga. If you want to invest in a high quality side stick, I would focus on the Moza AB9 Base first, because you can attach a stick to that and then it'll have more functionality. I use the Moza AB9 Base right now. You can use it as a force feedback stick. You can use it as a regular stick. That's where I would spend my money. It's going to be the one base that fits all. They also offer an Airbus side stick that you can get. I'm not running that. I'm running the FSprojects side stick on top of mine. So if you want to invest, I would first invest in the base of the side stick, the AB9 base from Moza, and then download the Airbus profile that I have on in our Discord. And once you have that set up, now it's kind of your choice of side stick. If you want to go all in and get the FSprojects side stick grip, that's the most realistic one out there. Or you can get a slightly modified one. I believe, like I said, Moza has an Airbus version. It's not exactly a one-to-one of a 320 side stick. It has some additional functionality on it, which is a good thing if you're looking for more functionality. But right now, in my opinion, the only base to invest in is the Moza, because it's going to be so universal. You can use it as a regular spring joystick. You can use it as a force feedback joystick. You can use it as a helicopter cyclic. So it's so configurable that if I were starting out right now and I was saving my money for something, that's what I would save for, because that's going to last me it's going to last me many years, and it's going to do a lot of different things really, really well. Canadian, thank you for the 5 Canadian, man. People need to compare price in the same currency. It's not $50 the Fenix and 70 FS Labs. It's 50 pounds for the Fenix and 55 pounds for the FS Labs. Okay, well, yeah, that's a good, yeah. We don't want to cross confuse currency either, because that can skew it. Do you think the Tolis? But thanks again, Canadian. Appreciate that 5 Canadian. So it's 5 pounds more for the FS Labs. What I also thought, let's talk real quick about what I did see. Now, I'm not going to bring up the black box stream and overlay it. Maybe I should send him a message and see if we can do that in the future. He may not want me to do that. I'm not just going to do it willy-nilly for him here. But what I did see in some of his stream, and again, I don't know if the cockpit or if the texturing is final or if it's work in progress. But as you looked around the cockpit, for anybody who flew the FS Labs in P3D, you know what I'm going to say. Okay. It really had some P3D stank on it. Now, am I saying it's bad? No. I think the cockpit looked pretty decent. But do I believe that it's 100% made from scratch for Microsoft 2020? No way. No way. No, I don't believe that. I'm sorry. Now, and I'm not saying that it has to be. You can port over a product and juice it up with textures. You know, look at the PMDG 777 versus the PMDG 7.3, because PMDG had a 777 in P3D, right? And I'm sure they ported over a lot of systems into 2020, and maybe even some model changes, but you can see where they really adjusted and ramped up the texturing game. They really ramped it up in the triple. In the 7.3, you can kind of see its age when you look at the cockpit of the 737. I'm not saying it's bad by any means, but I'm just saying that you can definitely visually see a difference. Now, when you look at the P3D FS Labs and what we saw yesterday, I saw a lot of P3D stank on that cockpit. The McDo looked a little bit strange as well. I agree. The keys looked very flat to me as well. Now, I know there's also, people talk about YouTube compression and all that. To me, YouTube compression really, it doesn't really change the texturing. The compression issue, what it does is it's all about bit rate. Okay, so if your bit rate is not set properly for your upload, and you're not uploading at a high enough quality, or the settings are just not exactly right, you're going to get fuzzies. So and that's only a stream thing. So I don't know if you guys see it, but let's test it. So when I go here and then I go right up to the panel view, I see zero fuzziness. This is 100% crisp all the way through. Now through YouTube, you might see some fuzzies there for a minute while it loads up and processes. That's a YouTube thing. But as far as it physically changing what the texturing looks like, not really. That doesn't really happen through YouTube, at least in my opinion. So with that said, I did see a lot of, I saw some real flat texturing, like on the armrest, it was 100% flat. You look at the side stick, it looked pretty flat. But I mean, it didn't look bad. It looked like a good cockpit to sit in and enjoy. But I kind of chuckled when they're like, yeah, 100% made from scratch. It's like, don't know about that one, boss. You don't gotta lie to kick it. You just say, yeah, we did a lot to bring it over, and we're still improving, Amir got the Fenix into 24 3 days after getting access. And logo lights, I'm so glad you brought this up. Because you're absolutely right. To get the Fenix in 2024, I thought for sure it was going to take weeks, if not months, to get the Fenix operating in 2024. The Fenix team and Amir, they said they basically turned into a 24/7 rotating shifts to get the Fenix up and running in 2024. That, to me, says all I need to know about Fenix and their dedication to their product. Like, put all the systems away, put all the texturing away, put the sounds away. The fact that they work that hard to just get their airplane up and running in 2024 for no fee, mind you. We haven't had a fee change yet. Now, I don't know if they're going to officially do some type of, additional fee for additional functions. I'm not sure, but that's pretty cool that they were able to run that up that quick. Canadian, there's something called post-processing, and I think that would make a difference. I'm not saying that's the case, Canadian. And again, bitrate has a lot to do with it. And I don't think, I know if you run a 2K monitor and let's say somebody's not streaming in 2K, it's not going to be a true 2K. It's not going to look as crisp. So there are definitely legitimate reasons why an image on somebody's stream is not look like what it's going to look like on your computer. That's 100% true. But when I look at the armrest and it's a completely flat blue square, that's not a compression issue. What's the difference in flight dynamics, the sharklet and raked wingtip? Scott, I've gone over that quite a bit. It's a very minimal difference, but you can definitely tell. It's basically how the airplane retains energy throughout the round out and flare. That's really that's when you're going to feel it the most. And it's variable from landing to landing. There is a difference. It's small, but I think Fenix does it well because I've tested both. Water, what's up, man? Welcome to the stream. Glad to have you on board. Water dropping the 10 gifted memberships as well. Water, what's up, man? Thank you so much for the 10 gifted memberships. Hope you're doing well. Thanks for tuning in here. I do have the alert box muted, and I guess I also missed a super chat from AJ, man. Oh no, that was from 5 days ago. Never mind. Okay, I was making sure I didn't have my alert box muted for miss anything. But Water, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for the 10 gifted memberships, spending our taxpayer dollars. Exactly, AJ. He's taking our taxpayer dollars and just feeding it right back into the system. But I appreciate you. Thank you, Water. Ark says, I own the Fenix, but not the 19 and 21. I was thinking of getting it, but after hearing the FS Labs around the corner, I'm not too sure which to pick. Do you think I should wait for FS Labs? Well, Ark, are you going to be flying in 2020 or 2024 in the future? So right now, the Fenix is running in both sims. Although it's not 100% compatible, and they've actually stated, Fenix has stated that they're not even accepting tickets or instability issues with the Fenix on 2024 because it's not officially supported yet. To me, it appears that it's going to be well ahead of the FS Labs in terms of it coming or being fully supported. So again, that's going to depend on which sim you want. MiGs and also Arc. I don't know how long until you're going to see the 19 and 21 from FS Labs either, right? They tend to have very long development cycles, so we shall see. Migs, thank you for the 13 Canadian again. Appreciate it. Despite my Thrustmaster stick, I know what you mean now about the low altitude ground transition feeling in 24. And for the better. Smoother, less stutters, and less float or slam it down. Yes, Migs, I agree 100%. And I want to, while we're talking about that, I want to tell y'all, because you were probably here, raise your hand if you were here for the X-Plane versus Phoenix, or Tolos versus Phoenix comparison stream. Migs, thank you for that 13 Canadian. I really appreciate it. And this is a very interesting tidbit. So, when we did the flyover, and I wish Gus was here. I know he's not. But there was a couple of you saying, okay, well, why is the wind dying off on the ND when you're landing? The wind was dying. It was showing 20 knots, and then it faded out to 0 when you were in the flare and landed. Well, I flew over the runway at 40 feet. And the wind was still showing 18 knot crosswind at 40 feet. But then everybody started saying, well, you got to go lower. You got to go 20 feet. You got to go 20 feet because that's when the wind died off at 20. So I reloaded. And if we have time at the end of the stream, I'll do this. I flew the same weather pattern because I have it saved. And I flew the airplane right down the runway at 20 feet, actually down to 10 feet. I actually clipped and did actually bounced the engine nacelles off the runway. The entire time, the ND showed a steady crosswind. So what you are seeing in the Phoenix versus the Tolos and X-Plane is this wind readout, and we already knew this now after we talked about it, is a reading through the ADIRs from the system, or through receiving air data from outside, processing it through the ADIRs and sending it to our display where we can see it here. This readout is a dynamic, accurate representation of what the airplane is going to show you, not what the sim weather is. In sim weather, like when we flew an X-plane, we set 20 knot crosswind. We had 20 knot crosswind all the way to 0 in the flare and until the wind died off. And when the wind started, it literally goes 0 for 0, and then it would go from 180 at 20. It's reading direct sim wind. That's the difference. So this, in my opinion, and basically in anybody's, like if you understand that, you will 100% agree that this is a more accurate representation. Now, to the effect that how much it changes and where it shears off, I'm not sure about the science behind that, but the fact alone, the fact is true that it is reading data from outside of the aircraft in the sim, processing that data and displaying it like the real aircraft would. Thus, when you move the rudder pedal and you adjust the way that the wind is being sensed by the sensors outside, it's going to affect what the readout says. That is a realistic simulation. That is a more in-depth study level simulation, if you will, of the air data being displayed on the ND. So that was pretty cool, because you guys kept saying, well, you have no wind on the ground, that's why you're landing so smooth. And no, it's not, because if you saw me land without correction, the airplane just would stay weather vaned into the wind. Personally, I'm excited for the 7.3 Max. Haven't really wish it was impressive. Curious about pitch and power being fixed yet. For the PMDG 7.3 Sim Pilot, I'm not sure, man. I haven't flown the PMDG in a long time. I'm probably going to wait for more Adams to be stable with 24 before moving over. My plan is eventually switch from 2020. Yeah. I mean, look, we are going to fly some 2020 this week. We're going to be doubling up on the streams. We're going to have 2 and 2 pretty much all week long. 777 freighter. I'm going to show you guys some of that, hopefully. And there was an update to the RJ, a pretty extensive update, even though the aircraft just released. So take a look at some enhancements and some fixes in the RJ85. We're going to look at that. And then we're going to be doing some more South America ops in our pistons. And I believe the DuxWorks mod actually works now in 2024. So we're going to be doing some low and slow prop flying. And we're also going to be doing career mode. So, Migs says, yeah, that blew my mind. The combo of Fenix being the Airbus GOAT and improved FS24 dynamics and give us some good times, man. Migs, yes, absolutely. Turk, what 2024 update just dropped? But Migs, I couldn't agree more with you, man. And I wanted to go over, we don't really have enough time. We were kind of talking about the FS Labs. We have a little bit of time. Let's take a look at, I'm going to go outside view. Can I go, let me do this. Let me go showcase cam. Like so. I zoom it in. I was trying to, I don't know the default zoom keys on this thing here. What's default zoom? Turn that down. I'm going to bring up the I was going to go through this. Nope, not that one. That's our flight plan. Where's my here we go. This right here. We're going to go over this real quick. I just want to go through some of these numbers because everyone likes to say, oh, the data, but the data this, the data that. I don't know, man. I don't know how you can argue with the actual numbers that you get from the sim. And I'm going to use some of this for our next comparison stream that we're going to look at. As a real pilot, you prefer Microsoft compared to X-Plane? Yes, Ludo. And I prefer Microsoft over X-Plane because I firmly believe that the ever-changing environment and the simulation of the environment and world around you plays into the immersion factor. And when I fly on a static environment or I have to have a bunch of weather add-ons to make it seem a little bit better, that alone drives me away from the X-Plane platform. In the comparison stream we did just yesterday or 2 days, whatever it was, the last stream we did, the real-world weather in St. Martin was basically giving us 0-0 viz. Real weather in Microsoft Flight Simulator was much more believable. It was a low overcast. We were able to see where we were going. We still had, 3 miles of visibility. We were able to pick out the runway and do a real-world landing. The ever-changing environment and dynamic environment of 2020 and 2024, to me, plays into that realism factor. And for that reason, that helps push me over the edge to get away from X-Plane. I'm not saying X-Plane 11 is not a good sim. I'm just saying it's not the sim that I prefer anymore. I preferred it for a very long time. But once you started having devs like Phoenix, PMDG, Just Flight, Black Square, show that you can get very high-level flight dynamics into the simulator, it was a no-brainer for the Switch, man. It was a no-brainer. Ian Woodbridge, thanks for the $10 super chat. I appreciate that. Captain, glad to catch you live again. Debating whether to buy a top-tier Airbus joystick or the Throttletek. Context, I mainly fly Airbus. Well, Ian Woodbridge, thank you so much, man, for the $10 super chat. I appreciate that. Very kind of you. Man, that's a tough one. That's a tough one. If you want to mainly, what do you use for a side stick now? I'll tell you this, going for the side stick, you're going to be able to have more versatility if you go with, say, the AB9 Base, because you can make it fly exactly like an Airbus, but then you can also change it and fly other aircraft as well. Now, if you already have a yoke that you use for other aircraft and you're really only going to be using it for the side stick, well, then maybe the Throttletek's the way to go. You can't go wrong either way. I thoroughly love my Throttletek. It's just, that's a real tough one, man. You have mostly Thrustmaster. Yeah. I wish I had one. I wish I could say you need to go this way or that way. That's really going to be personally. I'll tell you this. You're not going to be upset either direction you take. having the dedicated Throttletek Airbus setup, you're going to have just as much fun. If you go with the dedicated hardcore side stick setup, it's going to change the way the Airbus flies completely. So you might actually see and feel a physical difference more with flying if you go the side stick route. Because I'm telling you, flying the Airbus with a proper Airbus setup is completely different than flying it with a TCA stick. It's night and day difference, night and day. You won't even recognize the airplane. And that goes for all aircraft, from TOLUS to the FS Labs. Well, I don't know about FS Labs in 2020. From TOLUS to the Fenix. Okay, it's going to fly completely different if you get a dedicated, proper Airbus side stick setup. You can get an Xbox controller for cheap. Well, you know, that's the good thing about Xbox, or a good thing about X-Plane Water, is the flight models are much more friendly to Xbox control pilots in X-Plane. They are, because they're just more sluggish, if you will. All right. Nice to see Cirrus. Yeah, so there's our high altitude cirrus clouds. You can see that. I wanted to go through, let's at least get down here before we get to the A320 CFM wingtip fence, and then we might skim this. But let's go through what Fenix is actually trying to do here, because I think this is important, especially in the light of everything coming out. Looks like we're going to have competition in the Airbus world, which is good. This is good. We want competition. We want to know who's making the most realistic simulation. There are no reveals, no announcements in this or exciting new snippets, a purely deep dive into the product discussed in detail. Now, this is good. This is for those of you that love numbers and love details. We've been working on various refinements to the existing product stack, and one area we repeatedly see a lot of confusion or misconceptions is in the flight physics model, also known as flight dynamics. And this is good. I haven't read this at all yet, by the way. This is my first time reading through this. But this is a perfect time to go through this, because we literally just did a flight model stream comparing flight models between X-Plane and Microsoft. There are two parts to flight dynamics in any simulator: the core simulator's FDE, flight dynamics engine, that process aircraft's flight model data, and the individual profile flight model of each aircraft, which contains tables, values, shapes, and all manner of parameters for the flight dynamics engine. You may have heard us or other developers talking about limitations of a simulator's flight model, or FDE, usually in the context of being unable to improve upon certain regimes, e.g. ground physics. Wow, this is really well written, and this is a lot of what we're talking about when we're looking at comparing flight models and, what does this sound like? And how many times have you guys heard as simmers that we can't do something because of a sim limitation? I mean, I've heard that. If I had $1 for every time I heard a dev say there's a sim limitation, I'd have my own simulator out now. Let's see. Or needing to make a compromise in one area to facilitate more accurate performance in another. We saw this specifically with the Fenix when they were trying to tune engine values, and I think the fly-by-wire suffered from this too. Like, you have an engine model that you are limited in what it can do, so do you make it accurate in cruise, or do you make it accurate in the climb phase? Generally, I would think the smarter way would be to make it accurate in cruise, because if you have a really inaccurate cruise engine, all your long-term fuel burn, fuel planning is going to be thrown way off. So it's better to be less accurate for a shorter period of time, such as the climb phase, than being in a cruise phase. So this is true. This is normally in reference to not having granular control or even any control for certain aspects of the flight dynamics engine, or the FDE itself having calculation errors, leading to incorrect flight performance even with verified correct data. Okay, I want to expand upon this here real quick, and I'm going to go back to the inside view because I don't I feel like the engine is just really loud out there, even though I have it turned way down. So we're gonna adjust our view. We're gonna read this from the wing view here. I want to hit on this real quick because even my buddy Phantom 320, who you guys have probably heard him, or he's probably been in the stream a couple times. We flew the TOLUS into Kai-Tech together. He's throughout the Discord. Real world pilot, flew the Airbus, left flying, went to do air traffic control. Now he's doing FAA stuff. So he's a very knowledgeable, and he's also a very picky person when it comes to aircraft. And he said in the simulator, and he said something in the Discord earlier today, I'm paraphrasing here, that there are some developers out there that focus so hard on saying, this is exactly the numbers in the book, and the airplane is flying exactly book numbers. The problem with that is it doesn't matter if your airplane is 100% book number correct if in the sim it flies like an aerobatic airplane, or it feels completely off. Even though the numbers may be aligning in your book, that's not what we are feeling as the end user. So there's a fine line of interpolation that devs need to dance along, trying to get the right data in the sim, but also not affect how the aircraft is feeling to you, because newsflash, the simulator itself isn't perfect. No simulator is perfect. So if you have perfect numbers in an imperfect simulator, you're going to have a problem. Perfect numbers only work when you have a perfect simulator. And the level D simulators, they're not perfect. They are the closest to perfect that is available. But even then, it's not 100%. It doesn't feel 100% like the real thing. It does 100% or 99.9% of what the real thing does, because that's what it needs to do for you to train on. But the feeling is still not 100%. It can't be, because an airplane is different than a simulator. So that just wanted to hit on that. It says, no matter the simulator you use, no FDE is perfect, and all require a certain amount of wizardry to achieve the desired end result specific to a particular aircraft. For example, match effect compressibility of the air. Mach effect. Mach effect, which is the compressibility of the air, is not simulated in the Microsoft Flight Simulator FDE, which in Microsoft manifests itself in cruising airliners flying with a higher nose attitude than the data would otherwise suggest. This is great to know. So like when you're at cruise, 2 to 3 degrees nose up. What are we right now? Just out of curiosity. So right now we are sitting at about 2.5 degrees nose up. And I would agree, that seems a little bit high. Maybe it should be more like 2 or 1.7 degrees nose up. Although I don't know. I haven't flown an airplane in a long time. We do have 42 knot tailwind. We also need to start down here. We're 120 miles out. So let's go ahead and crush through this. And then we'll go back to reading this on another comparison stream. Workarounds include a hidden notch of flap to move the center of lift, having invisible spoilers activated throughout other phases, and additional engine thrust vectors towards the Earth. This is one of many examples I could give you that shows flight modeling is as much an art as it is a science, and even with all the real-world performance data for an aircraft, just plotting in the theoretically correct numbers and values will rarely output something close to the expected results. Very good. Very well said. With the above in mind, this makes achieving something truly accurate a very difficult task, and one open to a lot of interpretation. For this reason, we divide our flight model validation into 2 distinct sections, qualitative and quantitative. Where possible, we try to ensure our aircraft match all the verified real-world performance data. Once this is achieved, we then refine the qualitative aspects. Often the two aren't mutually exclusive, and moving the needle further towards qualitative measurably diminishes the accuracy of the flight model. Indeed, not only is flight modeling an art and a science, it also is a balancing act. This is why you rarely find an experienced flight modeler with any hair left on their head. Okay, so this is just good. I mean, we're going to have to end it there because we got to worry about our top of descent here. Matter of fact, we're going to start trickling down. We're going to set 240. We're going to step down right now, Mach descent 240 as we head on down. But, I mean, just reading that first entry, couple paragraphs right there, that's exactly what I'm talking about when we start comparing these flight models. Oh, but it does this book, and this book. And I'm the same way. At the end of the day, I want it to feel as close as it can to the real airplane. If my pitch is off by a degree and a half, I mean, a degree, depending on the phase of flight, 1 degree is actually quite large. But let's just say, for example, 10 degrees, 250 knots climb thrust. That's what the airplane should give you. Am I going to throw a fit if I'm at 9.3 degrees and 252 knots? Not if it feels right. If I'm flying the departure and I'm yanking and banking around the pattern, if it feels right, I could care less, right? Now, would I rather have it be exactly 10 degrees of pitch, exactly 250 knots, but feel like I'm flying a box truck? No, I would rather have it be slightly less accurate on the numerical side, but feel like the real thing, as opposed to being 100% accurate on the numerical side and flying like a box truck. That's where I think people are failing to understand the complexity behind, you know, what the airplane feels like in the sim versus the numbers that it's spitting out. So, anyway, we'll discuss more of that. We're going to be talking about it all week long. It's going to be a good week of streaming. So as we get ready for our descent here, let me check in on our vote. What do you think about the CEO announcement? Right now, it's 71% says I have the Fenix and I will not buy the FS Labs. 18% says I have the Fenix and I will buy the FS Lab. So trying to get both. Very cool. I don't have, and I will buy 3%, and 8% are Gus and AJ. They fly X-Plane. Very cool. Very cool data. I just wanted to poll you guys because I saw X-Plane doing a XP72 doing a similar poll, and I was like, that's an interesting idea. Let me copy that. All right, let's go ahead and let's rip it down. Let's go open descent down to 240. We don't have a SAR, so. Majority that like to talk about flight dynamics are armchair pilots that haven't touched a 172 in real life. Felix. So I did take off the 172s today, so I think one of the streams we're going to do is we're going to do a 172. Let's see, what time is it? 1:30. We might even have time at the end of this stream, at the end of this flight. I took off and I flew the 172 around in Microsoft Flight Sim. All right. I took off, flew the 172 around in X-Plane. Honestly, they were very, very, very close to one another. Default across default. The biggest difference was I could hold the falling leaf stall a little bit better in X-Plane, but it almost felt a little bit too stable. But here's an interesting tidbit, and I would ask you guys to go try this. If you still fly 2020, I want to see if this is still true. In Microsoft 2020, in the Cessna 172, whenever I attempted to stall the airplane, attempted to do a falling leaf stall, which is basically hold the aircraft in a stalled condition. And as long as you stay coordinated, you can stall and you can kind of manipulate. And now this was a demonstration technique that we would do as instructors to students. It wasn't anything you did on your check ride. But in 2020, I could not do that. It would just automatically, it would stall and it would roll over and attempt to enter a spin. In 2024, I can hold a falling leaf stall pretty dang good. And then I can induce a spin by kicking in the rudder and becoming uncoordinated. The aircraft will roll over and attempt to start going into a spin. So for those of you that don't believe that 2024 is different, that alone is conclusive evidence. And I don't know if this has changed in 2020, so I'm asking y'all to go try it. I couldn't do a falling leaf stall in 2020 in the 172. I can do one now in 2024. Land 2-3 in Buffalo. Nice crosswind. Okay, Bo says land in 2. So let's do that. Let's change our runway. Let's land on 2-3. Let's do ILS 2-3 approach via. We'll take it off of Trava. We'll insert that. That's opposite direction. We don't need the hold, do we? Let's land in a crosswind. Let's do approach via G. And then that'll at least star it out for us. So let's load up the weather. Can we pull weather from this again? I don't remember if it's working in 24 or not. Okay, Buffalo. We do have the Any Builds Buffalo. Yes, we'll send that off. I haven't tried falling leaves. I need to try that in 24. Yeah, Captain AB, try it in 24. Now, I also, keep in mind, I also haven't flown a Cessna 172 in over 15 years. Maybe longer. It's been a while. We're going down 18,000 feet. But the fact that I could not do a falling leaf in 2020 at all, it would just, every time I hit the stall, it would drop the wing and roll over. I can hold it in 2020. Excuse me, in 2024. All right, they'll vector us west, so let's go ahead and give ourselves a self-vector I'm going to go ahead and select heading. You know what, though? Because we don't have ATC on, let's go just past G. What's after G? Let's go direct Corvu. So when we start making position reports, it'll be easier for other pilots to understand if need be. So we're direct Corvu. Did we get any? We did. Weather data. Here we go. So let's go ahead and set up our perf data. 300 at 6. Temperature outside is 3 degrees cold. Eesh. And the meter is 3012. We're going to stay at 19,000, so we'll stay above the clouds for right now. Let's go over to our chart, Navigraph approaches. Man, we ripped through that that cruise. We should have done a long haul so we could actually not be rushed and discuss all the topics I want to discuss. Minimums 926. 926 in the barrel. We'll get our LS push buttons on. We're getting ready to enter the icing conditions. We'll get our engine anti-ice on. We'll preheat it. Airbus says do not delay. I must say crosswind landing in 24s are still off, but generally the flight model is vastly improved. What airplane have you been flying in 24 to come to that conclusion? I've only done the true crosswind testing. I've only done it in the Fenix. So I haven't really had an opportunity to do. We did it in the did a crosswind in 330 in Detroit, and it definitely felt improved. It wasn't perfect by any means, but it definitely felt improved. We could always have a podcast. Sat with the exact window view on the recent trip. Was awesome with the 220 though. Nice, pilot boy. Yeah, this is my favorite views. These are my 3 favorite places to sit. Here, here, or here. Those are the only seats I want if I'm not up front. Those 3 seats. $2024 is a lot closer to X-Plane than 2020 in physics from my experience. 2020 is missing some things to get the right behavior. Buffalo approach 2615. They looks like they just tuned on. Now my radio stack is not working in 2024. That's kind of sad. 2615. Flip you over. Buffalo 8 is the Gulf is what we have. Buffalo approach, good afternoon. JetBlue 357, flight level 190, information Gulf. Right now we're proceeding direct Corvu for the ILS 23.
357, Buffalo approach, radar contact with the channel speed as reported. Buffalo altimeter 3012, you can expect, I'll give you vectors for the ILS runway 23. For now, fly heading 050 to descend and maintain 12,000.
050 on the heading, descend and maintain 12,000. We'll expect vectors ILS 23 for JetBlue 357. Alright, 12,000 feet. We're coming on down. Thrust throttle open, descent. Off of Corvu there. What's that waypoint? Let's zoom it in here. We gotta. So Trava is what we want to draw the line off of. So we're going to go Trava 124. We actually want to be 154. Nope, we want to be. Final approach course is 214. Oh, 234. There we go, 054. We'll insert that. We'll reselect heading. Back to arc mode. Extend to the center line. Magic barrel ref 3015 is set. Lalagoles. Been a long time. Welcome back to the channel. Yeah, it's been a long time. Ooh, look at the snow cover down there. That looks great. I want a suggestion in regards buying the Fenix for 24. I've uninstalled 2020. Should I buy the Fenix or wait for the... I would be furious if I got charged the upgrade in the future. Mohammed, man, I don't know what to tell you. I really... I will never not suggest the Fenix because I think it is such a good, it's a good package all around, from sounds, textures, complexity. It's all there. Integrated GSX. It's all there. So if you are thinking about getting the Fenix, I would do it. This is on 2024. You're watching me fly the Fenix on 2024 right now. What do I think about single pilot 350? Are they going to have an MCP?
357 to center, maintain 8,000.
Send 8,000. JetBlue 357. Are they going to have an MCP in the toilet? Yeah, I don't know, man. Wouldn't surprise me, dude. Wouldn't surprise me. Let's go ahead and select 250 knots. What was the altitude he gave us? Did you say 8,000? I think he said 8,000. Set 8,000. We're going to set vertical speed to 500 for here. That's 400 is fine. Get a little speed brake action out and help us slow down. My speed brake's not bound? Oh no. Why aren't my speed brakes bound properly? I must have a conflicting binding. To check that out. They were working perfectly. I'm gonna check. I might have the wrong profile selected. Go figure. Alright, there's 250. Thrust idle open descent down to 8. Here we go. Looking at the age of our bird here in Canada, single pilot ops and the airline is not here for another 30 years. Spoiled brake is dead to me. It is dead to me, AJ. Look at that juicy ground textures down there, though. Look at that. Love that snow. Did we get that in 2020? I forget. It's been so long. 2024 is updating right now? What kind of update are we going to get? Marketplace? Key 6, nothing is working for you in 24, all CTDs. Do you mean after the update or just in general? The speed brake binding is stuck in the cloud. I heard we always have to have an internet to play 24. You do. But here's the thing. Unless you guys on Steam can play 2020, I still have to have internet even on 2020. It won't let me launch the sim because it tries to log you into the... because I bought it on the Microsoft Store or whatever. And if it can't log me in, it won't launch the sim. It says insert disk. Oh, just minor updates? Alright, alright. CTDs in general, it used to work. I reinstalled the sim and nothing. Key 6, you know what it was? You know what it was, Key 6? It was your GSX, dude. 100% what it was. GSX.
Last station calling static only.
I have the DVD version and I still can't play offline. Okay, now that is highway robbery right there. I would have expected that if you got the DVD version, you should be able to play offline. That's ridiculous. Super lame update, nothing's changed. Alright, well, I'm not going to update it then. Oh, alright, so I got to end this poll. And that leads me to our next poll. We're going to have to finish this. For tonight's stream...
Good afternoon, Buffalo departure. This is United 1337 at Gate 7. We're requesting IFR from Buffalo to Boston Logan.
Alright, 1337. Buffalo departure cleared to Boston Logan Airport via the Buffalo 8 departure. Radar vectors Geneseo, VOR then as filed. Maintain 10,000. Departure on this frequency. Squawk 5706.
What are we going to do tonight? A400M stream, start our
Clear to
career
Boston
mode,
Logan
or
Airport
fly
by
the
the
Fenix
Buffalo 8 departure.
A321 going
Geneseo
over
VOR transition
the by the
will
numbers
be
review,
looking at
which is what we just
10,000
started
feet initially, and after 10 minutes, expecting flight level 310, and we'll be squawking 5706 United 1337.
United 1337, read back right. JetBlue 357 descend and maintain 4,000.
Descend and maintain 4,000, JetBlue 357. Alright, 4,000.
And Buffalo approach, American 350, we have you now. We're descending through flight level 210.
We've got American 1205.
Affirm, American 1205.
American 12-5, Buffalo approach ident.
Career mode, cargo ops, pretty pleased. Well, see, Migs, that's why I kind of want to get going on the career mode, because I want to do, I feel like we can find some good areas of the world to do some stuff. I know the first couple of missions are a grind. I really wish you could use a round gauge airplane, but I guess you can't, or like use other aircraft to start out on. It sucks. You can't use, you have to use G1000, but.
We'll expect vectors ILS 23, JetBlue. Sorry, American 1205.
Do I believe active sky is needed? No, I believe it's never been needed. Do not use active sky at my recommendation. Do not use Atmos. Do not use real turb in 2024. Tested the crosswind and light aircraft and confirmed it by not dipping my wing into the wind. I only aligned the nose, wings level. Aircraft still drifts into the wind. Interesting, SLH sim. We'll have to set. We'll have to do some testing on our end as well, because yeah, that's what plagued 2020. Is you couldn't use proper crosswind correction because you would just drift into the wind. Do not use GSX. Do not use AMD. Man, you guys are awesome. Up to 400 likes on this video. You guys are absolutely fantastic. Thank you for all the support, guys, and I hope you all are ready for a fun week of content. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. What do we got? So right now the poll is tight. A400M or start at career mode. If you haven't voted yet, vote for career mode, because I don't want to have to spend all day binding the A400M. Here's the thing: does the A400M have good sounds? If it doesn't, I'm not gonna fly it. I want good sounds. At least not sounds that are stuck in the cloud.
10,000.
040 10,000, American 1205.
For 2020, active sky or Atmos? Atmos if you can run it stable. I could not run Atmos stable. It gave me a blue screen. If you could run Atmos stable in 2020, then you're going to be set.
Turn left heading 350.
Left turn 350, JetBlue 357. I really want my mini FCU working. All right, 350. I'm also going to slow down here. We're in a slippery 320. Let's come. He hasn't given us a speed restriction. Let's come straight back to 180 on the downwind here. Oh, look at that. Recording is on. That looks so good down there. I feel like it should be more brown, but there's no snow in this area. So what's actually happening, Tyson, is it shows snow where there's actual accumulation of snow. And all the snow as of late has been lake effect snow, if I'm not mistaken, right? So the lake effect snow, you could be in one county, get 2 feet, and like one county across the highway, get 0. It's very specific in where it snows with lake effect. All right, we're well below at VLS. Let's go flaps 1. Speed checks flaps 1. And we can probably go right into flaps 2 here. Flaps 2. Speed checks flaps 2. A400M is decent, but sounds are not the juice. Oh, that's depressing. Okay, vote for career mode. Vote for career mode if you haven't already. Plus, I already have a thumbnail for career mode.
Right.
I think we will start at Sedona, Arizona, too, which is pretty cool.
Turn left heading 010 left.
Turn left heading 010.
I gotta listen up here. Gotta listen up.
JetBlue 357, turn left heading 320.
Left turn, 320, JetBlue 357.
JetBlue 357, just keep your speed up. Give me a 190 or better for now.
190 or better, JetBlue 357. 190 for the speed. We can't. Yeah.
United 1330.
I probably should have gone to like 210.
United 1337, information Golf, current Buffalo runway 23, taxi to Alpha, cross runway 32.
We'll keep it right up there at the barber pole. That's on me. I shouldn't have slowed down.
Taxi to runway 23, cross.
I just wanted to see juicy
We have
wings.
Alpha on board. United 37.
V1 rig the pole, restart the count. I didn't rig it. Just vote. Vote if you haven't already. Vote for either career mode or Phoenix, because we don't want to fly an A400M with no juice sounds. Oh, look at that. That looks real. Set up some keybinds to increase, decrease sim rate. Early career mode is an annoying grind. Okay, well, thanks for the tip. I heard, so we'll add that, and then also display the blue squares, right? Spoozy, yes you can. Yes you can. Not recommended though, but you can. It's not really proper, but there's really nothing stopping you from retracting. Now, what would be interesting is if we went to flaps 1 right now, we would get flaps 1 plus F instead of just flaps 1.
1948, reduce speed to 210 knots, then turn left heading 320. Speed 210, then left 322.
I love the overcast.
Triple 357, 5 miles from Trava. Turn left heading 260, maintain 4,000 till established on localizer, cleared ILS runway 23 approach.
260 on the heading 407, cleared ILS 23 approach for JetBlue 357. Alright, 264, AP 1 and 2. Glide slope blue, low blue, Cat 3 dual, autopilot 1 and 2 is bleh.
JetBlue 1948, send to maintain 4,000.
The aviators, just because of the logic.
Send to maintain 4,000.
So in flight, you only get slats, but on the ground you get 1 plus F. But there are some guys that are like, hey, watch this. If you go flaps 2, then back to flaps 1, now you have a better margin. You can fly this speed. My response to that is, don't do weird stuff. Just fly the airplane like they want you to fly it.
JetBlue 1948.
All right, localizer's live.
Turn left heading 260, maintain 4,000 until established on the localizer.
Loc Star.
23 approach. Turn left heading 260, maintain
Ground altitude
4,000,
is 3,000. Ground out to, oh well, I guess we'll wait for the glide slope star rather. So I want to start the pissed off medic. The end goal for career mode is I want to start Barry Seal Aviation. I'm going to start my own cargo company. That way, we'll be able to do cargo in career mode for Barry Seal. If you don't know who Barry Seal is, your homework tonight is Netflix or whatever, American Made with Tom Cruise, the new one, and watch it. My favorite movie. I just watched it the other night. I want to have a, I wish we could do like a watch along. I think that'd be so fun.
American 1205, turn 10 degrees left.
I don't know if it's possible.
10
Like,
degrees left, American 1205.
Maybe if I did like a
JetBlue
completely
357,
unedited video.
1300 at 6, runway 23, clear to land.
23 clear to land, JetBlue 357. Like, I don't know if it'd be possible if I just like turned all monetization off and then did a picture-in-picture. I just think it'd be so funny to watch that movie. All right, here comes glide slope star. Go around altitude is set 3,000 belay. Let's come back to 180 now. Now I'm going to leave the auto thrust on for this one because, again, I want to see, we have our turbulence reset up. I want to see how it handles at medium turbulence here. At realistic, the auto thrust was a little hyper aggressive. My mom went out with Barry Seal before all that. Are you serious, Alan? That's crazy. All right, let's hand fly it. Autopilot is off. Kill the caution, or flaps 2. Make sure we are activated and confirmed. We are. 136 on the V-app. We got a nice little crosswind right there. Looking juice. Wait till we're at 2,000 feet, and then we will manage it up. Radio altimeter is alive. Scotty 2, you watched it the other weekend because of your recommendation. I liked it. Excellent.
JetBlue 357, speed your discretion.
JetBlue 357. All right, so we're relieved on the speed, which is fine because he already cleared us for the approach, so that means we would have freedom on our speed anyway, unless he says cleared for the approach except maintain. But we're looking good. There we go, approaching in 2,000 feet above touchdown. We'll manage the speed. Gear down. Speed brake armed.
1337, you gonna be ready? A firm. 1337, wind 3006, traffic on a 5 mile final, runway 23, clear for takeoff, flight runway heading.
Clear for takeoff, runway 23.
Via Phoenix minus
runway
10,
heading
flaps
930.
3. Speed checks, flaps 3.
367 traffic departs prior to your arrival.
Ah! JetBlue 357, roger. That guy better go. He better get off the runway in time. Via Phoenix minus 10, flaps full, landing checklist. Oh, that looks so good. Come on.
JetBlue 1948,
Come on, y'all.
wind 3006, runway 23, clear to land number 2.
Alright, landing checklist, cabin crew advised. We don't need these anymore.
6,000.
6,000 American.
Oh, ice
1205.
detected on. Okay, fine. See, that's why it's good to run the DAIDs and Microsoft Flight Sim. Whoa, I got all destabilized there. Alright, we're looking good. Correcting. Get back on the glide slope. Landing checks, cam crew advise auto thrust is speed. Auto brakes are off. ECAM memo landing. Landing all green signs blue. Landing checklist is complete. There we go. We're back on the slope. Let's get back in the flight directors here. Because of a crosswind, I'm going to use low auto brakes because I want to see. This is crosswind testing. In real life here, I'd probably just go manual brakes.
Need to start rolling traffic on a 3-mile final.
All right, so we got a 10 knot crosswind here. We're looking good. Recording is on. I don't know why the signs are blue and not ding the cabin in time.
American total 5, turn left heading 360 to maintain 4,000.
360, 4,000 American 1205.
Being Buffalo approach. Delta 1148 is then sort of 14.5 for 11,000 at Dunkirk. 500.
Right about 44%, 1.03 per. Definitely believable engine parameters here.
48, Buffalo approach, radar contact, 46 miles southwest of the...
Pretty stable wind. It is a crosswind,
altitude
but it doesn't feel like it's gusting
reported.
very
Heading
much.
060 to maintain 11,000.
We'll just ride it down. Pappies are in sight. We'll follow the Pappies. Glide slope not
060
coincided.
11,000 Delta 1148.
Just gonna dip below the glide slope here. That's fine. We're way off on this one.
Minimum. Light slope.
Check. Landing. 2 whites, 2 reds
Light
because we've got the
slope.
displaced threshold.
Light slope. Light slope.
40, 30, 20.
Bring it out. Little crab correction.
5.
Oh my gosh. Holding that left rudder in there. Holding that left rudder in there. Anybody who says that it's off, ooh, nice stutter, I don't believe you.
Right,
It feels so dang
radar
good.
contact, altitude passing. Altitude passing,
Feels
30.
so dang good.
Alright, 1337, squawk 5706. 5706
manual brakes.
in the box for 1307.
Gosh, the stutters on the ground are ridiculous though, you know? It might be because this is not, I mean, I don't know if there's anything you have to do for disabling airports, but we are down. All right. That felt so good, y'all.
1337, climb maintain 11,000, turn left heading 090, enable direct Genasi.
I mean, anybody who says it doesn't feel realistic
090, climb maintain
for crosswind correction.
11,000,
It was
and
not
direct
floaty.
Genasi
I got left rudder in there.
American total 5, turn left heading 320.
I'm gonna stop the recording.
320 American
And now
1205.
stick around, guys, because we have time. We're gonna show you extra
357, welcome to Buffalo,
here.
Texas, parking via Alpha.
Parking via Alpha. Thanks for the ATC, JetBlue 357. Yep. Now, I may also be stuttering because I have a lot of traffic, but I don't see any airplanes, so I'm going to disconnect from the network here real quick. I'm going to see if it smooths out. I'm going to leave all lights on. I'm going to bring the flaps back to 2. And we're just going to park with all lights on and flaps in position 2 because we're going to look at the replay. And then I want to show you guys that I'm not lying to you about the way the crosswind data is being shown to you on your ND. And we're going to dissect our crosswind landing too. It felt good. I had left rudder in. Didn't really need a whole lot of aileron, if any, because it's only 9 knots or so. But I could definitely feel the airplane wanting to weather vane. I was using left rudder. We had perfect deceleration, symmetric deceleration with the auto brakes. But yeah, we've got enough time. It's only 2 o'clock. Uh-oh. You know what's interesting? It's everything I that gives me the like memory frame gen error. You see that? This is the AnyBuilds Buffalo. And anything AnyBuilds, whether it's the airplane or the scenery. It appears to give me frame gen issues. Maybe any builds is not compatible with frame gen. All right, let's go to replay cam. Remember, now the stream is not ending yet. We got a couple things we're going to look at. First and foremost, let's watch our landing. We'll let the sim load in here. Parking brake is off. Now I had this way out there, so let's run it forward. Go ahead and we'll go here. We'll read on the spoilers. Auto thrust was on, right? So let's go ahead and turn the auto thrust back on. Auto thrust is on. We're on final. The sim is loading up. Fly by Wild Roscoe, what's up, my man? Good to see you, dude. FS Labs funding super chat. Oh boy, don't get me started. Roscoe, thanks for the $5 super chat. That's the other thing. Am I going to go purchase the FS Labs? Probably not. Now, this is not like a position of, you think you deserve it because you're a content creator. No, this is just my personal preference is I have a Airbus series that I absolutely love. Am I going to go spend $70 on another one that's in another sim that I really don't want to fly anymore? Probably not. Now, if they want to, if they're doing streamer copies or anything like that, I wouldn't turn it down. I'm not asking for it. I'm not going to turn it down, but I don't know if I would actually just go out and buy it for some stream clout. Like, I really don't. Unless there's something that pops up that looks really, really cool, right? So that's kind of where I'm at. But thank you, Roscoe. Appreciate you, man. Hope you're doing well. I'm okay with making V1 by the FS Labs. No, we're not going to start this train. We're not. Roscoe, look what you're starting here now. Go back to your bourbon and shipyard. I'll see what the 330 conductor says about it. Yeah, wing views is definitely juice, man. All right, so I think everything's loaded up now. Let me do this so I can free up the thrust levers. Let's watch it from right here as we come across the numbers. Look at that scenery, though. Just the view of the sun behind all those clouds. No, Minx. There you go. You can see the rudder input, a little bit of aileron, hold it off. Look at the stutters when we come to land, though. Touchdown. Yeah, when we land, it's, man, 100%. Okay, I'm going to uninstall this airport, too. Even though it says it works, it doesn't. Like, frame gen should be compatible with scenery. That's ridiculous. You're telling me frame gen is not compatible with scenery on the ground? Give me a break. All right. Migs, thanks for 2 Canadian FS Labs misery dono. Oh, my word. All right, here we go. Let's see if we can watch this. Now, remember, the deflections are not going to be seen in flight. A little bit of a crosswind here. There's our left rudder. Could have used a little more left rudder. A little bit of right aileron. Put her down. Oh, we hit that hump in the runway. But that looked pretty good. Left rudder to maintain center line. You can see it's trying to pull me to the right. Wow, we're going to have to get away from the scenery. I don't know. It must be the scenery. Maybe I need to, like, remove all the additional stuff on the scenery. But I tell you what, that crosswind landing felt awesome. Let's watch it from the front side. So here you go. You can see the rudder. We're decrabbing. We're decrabbing. Holding it. Now there's my left rudder. You can see the airplane's going to want to go to the left of the center, or to the right of the center line. We're using that rudder. Pretty good. But we got to get out of this scenery because this is going to keep doing this. So what we're going to do here, is there a rolling cache? I do have rolling cache on, and I expanded it. I made it larger. I'm going to stop replay. I'm going to save this as the Buffalo landing so we can come back to it if we need to. But what we're going to do real quick is we're actually going to end this flight, and we're going to do a real quick crosswind demonstration. Wish Gus was here for this. Stephen Haynes, thanks for the $5 super chat, man. Stutter Builds assumes everyone has an RTX 9090. Oh my word. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's only at either the AnyBuild scenery or the AnyBuild's aircraft. We get the frame gen stutter or lose VRAM, I guess, right? Is what I'm assuming that's what's happening. We're losing VRAM, or we're running out of VRAM. Is that why that's happening? That stutter? AJ's here. Okay, good. We're gonna squash AJ's theory that there's no wind below 20 feet here. There was an issue when installing airports in 2020 because it would conflict with cache data. Now, I think that's what I was trying to say, Coder. I think that might be what's happening because I literally just installed it to the community folder. Well, I used the INI manager to move it over, but isn't the default airport still there underneath causing issues? That's what I'm saying is like I don't like myself just copying sceneries over. I'm just gonna be patient and wait until we have a better idea. And I think when Marketplace drops, or maybe December 9th patch, maybe we'll have some more guidance on what to do. But it's with it's with sceneries. I'm telling you. All right, so real quick, I'm gonna go to panel states. We're just gonna go to a ready state here. Let me put my engines up. We'll go flaps 1. Parking brake is set. Okay. Let's hit ready. Activate new. Weight and balance. Let's just give us something random. Let's go there, and we're landing with 7,000 pounds of fuel. So we're going to apply and load. We're 132. Instant load. Dismiss. Okay, now really all I want to show y'all is some wind stuff here. So we'll get our lights on in case we do the replay. We want to see the juice. Alright, flight plan. I'm just going to initialize it so we have some... I got to wait for it to come to life. The buffering is related to how optimized the streaming is. There's something weird with how they are streaming the content, cache streaming. Yeah, I don't know, man. I really don't know what the answer is. I mean, here's what's weird, though, is if I turn off frame gen, I won't get that issue. So maybe it's something that's causing VRAM to wig out. And it's probably because I'm streaming too, you know, because streaming takes a ton of VRAM. Alright. Flight plan. I'm just going to initialize where we are. AJ, call your friend Gus so you can see this. TNCM, TNCM. Cool, that's all we're doing. Now, we're going to get a bunch of alerts because we don't have stuff loaded. But I want you guys to pay attention to a couple things. One, look at the windsock. It's right down the runway right now, okay? Windsock is down the runway. There's some ripple out there on the water. Nothing crazy. Okay, so let's keep our view on the windsock. Let's load the same exact weather condition. We did custom clear winds is what we did. Alright. Windsock has completely changed direction. If we look outside, we can hear the wind and we can see the wave action is really turned up out there now, okay? So, watch this. Let's go. We're going to get an alert saying speeds not inserted, yada yada. So you can see, look, without correction, it's really trying to come to the wind, into the wind. So I'm going to use my proper correction, get us back on the center line here, because without rudder, I'm just going to weather vane into the wind. Oh, let's go ahead and positive rate, probably hit the tail. We don't really care right now, we're just flying. I want you to pay attention to the wind vector on the ND, since you guys believe that that's the only way to have wind shown. Alright, we got 27 knots, 30 knots crosswind. Cool. Let's go ahead and set 2,500 for a pattern. Turn the auto thrust off. Clean it up. Actually, 1,500 is plenty good. Just for a reference. All right, so we can all agree we're flying around here. We're 1,500 feet. We got a 30-knot crosswind. Are we in agreement? Look at the wind. There's definitely a crosswind up here at 1,500 feet. Now, there was a lot of you that said the testing was inconclusive when we did the Tola's first Phoenix stream because you said that in the flare, my winds died to 0 and there's no wind acting on the aircraft. That's why your landing looks so professional and juicy. And I said, bullshit. You also said when I did my flyby over the airfield that at 40 feet it was still showing winds, but if I went to 20 feet, there would be no wind. I also said, bullshit. However, I only did a flyover at 40 feet. I didn't do a flyover at 20 feet. So we're going to do a flyover and basically scrape the engines on the ground. So let's roll it in, and we're going to do it over the runway because if I do it over the water, you'll be like, well, you don't have anything blocking the wind. You're over the water. So we're going to be as conclusive as we can be. I'm going to start descending. We're going to get our best Toulouse Air Show faces on here. We're going to see if we can find the runway. Look at that cruise ship out there. It looks pretty juicy. Descending through 1,000 feet.
1,000.
Too low. Terrain.
And we're going to get a bunch of those, so I'm going to kill those right now. All the jip whiz and stuff is off. There's the runway. I'm going to slow down just a little bit. We won't need to be doing 330 knots, but... Alright, we still have a crosswind. We all concur. Landing gear not down. We're aware of that. We're doing a Toulouse Air Show flyover. Still showing a 30 knots of wind on the ND. We're at 500 feet. Let's do a Magic Barrel ref update so we don't crash. 290901. Now as I turn away from the wind, you're actually going to see the values decrease a little bit because remember it's the sensor.
100.
We're 100 feet. We still have a 17-knot crosswind. Okay, now I can't. I don't know if I can make it right over the runway. Hold on. Let me get straight.
50, 40, 30, 20. Retard.
We're at 20 feet. Oh, we just hit the ground. What was the wind before we impacted? Do you guys remember? Oh, look, right off the ground, 10 feet. It's 30 knots of crosswind. Did you guys see that? So, now as we come down here and crash, we're going to slow down. That is proof to you that the wind is at ground level. So I just wanted to throw that in there for AJ and Gus, who said that, well, at 20 feet there would be no wind. We literally were scraping the engines, and there was a 25-knot crosswind all the way down. So that is going to end it for this particular stream. And I'm not going to try to reload it. I didn't even replay that. I should have put that on replay. Now drive to the bar. Look, can I get out and walk around? Let's go walk around. Yeah, I'm done with you. All right. Let's go. We need to go walk to the bar. I'm done. We crashed our airplane, and we're gonna go walk to the bar. All right. So, for those of you who said it was inconclusive, I hope this is more conclusive for you. I gotta walk. This is a long walk back to the terminal here, but I hope this is more conclusive. Gotta find a ride back to the terminal. I'm gonna be live. Let's see. What did the poll say? Oh my gosh. Oh, 36 start of career mode appears. That's what we're going to be doing later on this evening. So make sure you tune in. I have the thumbnail already set up. We'll probably go live. I'm going to assume maybe around 4 o'clock because we don't want to go too late because I do want to watch some Monday Night Football. So Look for the stream notification. Probably be around 3:30, 4 o'clock. We'll be going live. We're going to be starting our career mode and eventually work our way up to Barry Seal Aviation. So as I walk back to the terminal here at Juliana, I appreciate you all. Thank you for the super chats, the bank angle checks. Sam says, why are we still arguing about this? Even Blackbox said X-Plane 12 crosswind is exaggerated. Well, we're not arguing, Sam. I was just saying that everybody who watched that video appeared to say, well, at 20 feet, you wouldn't have any crosswind. And I said, that's not true. There's definitely a crosswind affecting the aircraft as we flare. It feels better. Crosswind in the Phoenix feels more realistic than crosswind in the Togas. It's that simple. We'll have to do the same test with the FS Labs if that's on our plate in the future. Probably only in 2024, though. I don't know if I'm going to go back to 2020 just to do that test. So, you guys are awesome. Thanks for the support. I'll see you on the next one. Stay safe. Stay healthy. I'm V1. I'm going to go check out this boat over here. I might go boating. Y'all have a wonderful rest of your day. See? Very funny, AJ. Thanks, man.